who's not, like just from looking in the room, because so those are things you can't really tell all the time. But definitely, I've always been one of, I would say, in a room of 100 people, maybe 3 people are Black in the gaming community. I will never forget going to a 600 person, I think it was 600 person regional tournament here in Los Angeles. And I think I was one of like 5 Black people there. And
And
so,
is that something that, because you say it was, it's something you're used to, is that something that just being involved in Pokemon stuff in general that you've kind of considered to be baked into the cake and you are just okay with being outside the mold? Or do you view that as something perhaps that the community is lacking, that excludes people that are similar to you?
I don't think, to be quite honest with you, I don't think that the Pokemon Go community could do anything differently. I think what you're seeing is people who are interested in the game, who are interested in Pokemon, who want to put forth the effort to really learn how to play and learn how to battle. And that's what you're seeing. And so people that look like me may not, and I hate to say this because it's a generalization, but this is from my perspective. I just think that people that look like me just hadn't wanted to play this game. I know so many people that I am friends with outside the game that have no interest at all. And they kind of laugh. They find it, funny that I still play this game all these years later. Um, but so I don't think that, within the community itself, that there is anything happening that's preventing people that look like me from wanting to participate.
What about you, Alyssa? With the tournaments that you would have in Arkansas, what was the makeup of that participation?
So I feel like my community is lucky in that we do have some diversity, or at least more diversity than I've seen in other communities around Arkansas. So two of our regulars are Black men, which is awesome. And they also admin ARPDP with me. So, but aside from them two, no, I think those are the only 2 Black men in like our server. There's one Black woman also, but she's not very active at all. But Black men and women in general are wildly underrepresented in the gaming community as a whole and in our own server. We are just lucky as a state that 2 of our 4 highest ranked battlers are Black men. I think it maybe opens up a gateway for other people of color to maybe take an interest. I don't know. I hope it does. I know that it's a lot more welcoming for me in tournaments when I see other women there.
Have you ever had any
Yeah.
conversations with your other admins regarding what their opinions on this subject are? Or, I mean, is it something that comes up as an issue, or is it one of those
Yeah,
things that's not
definitely.
really talked about a lot?
Definitely. We had this conversation regarding women specifically a few months ago because we felt like it was an issue that 95% of our player base were men, and we really wanted to make a push to get women more involved. So we would make a point to reach out to the women in our communities that were raiders or that were shiny hunters, but not necessarily into PvP quite yet. And we would just try to draw them into our tournaments or reach out and ask if we could practice battle or show them anything to try to get them hooked and coming to tournaments, or just to join ARPDP and get them involved in some way, even if they were just present there and looking around, maybe they would spark an interest. We had this conversation when everything started happening a few months ago regarding George Floyd, and when we decided to take a day of silence on social media and close ARPVP for the day, of what we could do to increase participation in our local communities to get more people of color gaming. And it's hard in Arkansas because it's not a super diverse area down here. I think the town I live in is like 80% white. It's not great. Like, it's really not. The high schools are ridiculously not diverse. So I'm not sure if this is somewhere we're going to stay permanently, but it's where we're at right now. As far as our community being so non-diverse, I'm really glad that our top battlers are men of color. I think that's really cool.
Have you have there been any specific efforts that you guys have made as a result of these conversations that to include people, and have they been successful at all?
We've been trying to search out like content creators that are of color, and there are surprisingly few. Like, it is so hard to find content creators that are not white 25 to 35-year-old men.
And so Ethan, I know that you obviously don't run, or you do run a community. You ran a
I
community.
do. UCR.
Is it a little different probably because you've got a student population, or is it fairly similar, the issues that are faced?
Oh no, it's completely different. I think it's primarily based on the area that you're in, like what the demographic of that already is, you know? So like UCR is like one of the most diverse, I think, if not one of the most diverse campuses that we have in California, because literally like our student population's kind of like it's primarily like a lot of the UCs, you know, you see like a lot of Asians, but it's like our campus, you see so many. We represent literally every single race. It's awesome. I love it so much. So like in our Pogo community, I'm pretty sure we have definitely some black people, like for sure. And like I've even run into and like talked to a lot of them. They're like everyone in my community is amazing. Like I love UCR so much. I think I'm really biased, but um I yeah, we don't like at our tournaments, we hardly get any disputes. It's like we're just so blessed, but like it really just depends on like your community, like your already pre-existing demographic like before Pokemon Go. And then like I'm not sure, like there's definitely a lot of I mean, in terms of UCR, there's definitely a lot of like uh, all sorts of races playing games. So like it's not just like one race, like white people playing games. It's like everyone is playing games. So we have like game nights and stuff like that. Too, that I don't do that stuff. That's like the actual campus, like I don't know what it's called, ASPB, or like a study, it's like ASB but like a step up, I don't know, but they run like retro nights and stuff like that, and we see like a lot of people do those, and like a lot of people just playing games in general. So but yeah, I mean it really just depends on like your area, and UCR is definitely a really diverse campus. So that's yeah, I can't really speak to any of those issues, but yeah, I know we value our players. So, and like California is definitely one of the best places to play, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure, yeah, London's not, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yeah, we're like New York and then like California, but yeah, so it's yeah,
So
yeah.
do so do you
Anyways,
so
that's
do you it feels like your Pogo community, your PvP community is reflective of the broader community as well, that it's not skewed one way or another.
yeah. I really don't like. I co-admin with one of like two of the like my really close Pogo friends, and one's Asian and one's Mexican. Like so like it's not just like, you know, white guys running the server. It's like I have we have a whole bunch of races. I have actually haven't seen any black battlers. Like I feel like I've seen like one, but mainly they're like raiding and stuff. So it's like I don't know how to get them more involved. I I try to be inviting as possible, and I'm like, hey, you wanna PvP? You like this? You like the tapping? You wanna battle? And they're like, I don't have time. And they're like, okay, now I'm awkward. Now I'm like really, now I'm just gonna walk away.
We got to work on
Okay.
your pitch, Ethan. But yeah.
Yeah. You
Oh,
like the battles?
oh
I don't know.
man.
I don't really pitch very often, but yeah, I we don't really see. I think we have had a couple black battlers come out to Sylph tournaments, but it was in the beginning. Like I think GBL is kind of like I like London shared it earlier. Like GBL's kind of run the show in terms of like PvP because people now have access to it, and it's like you don't have to go out of your way. Like a big problem for me personally is like driving to the tournaments. That's why I only did one, and I did the UCR one that I hosted. So it's like I didn't really go out of my way to do the Sylph tournaments pre-COVID. So I think that's like a lot of the issue with Sylph that people had pre-COVID. But um like post-COVID now we have GBL. So there's that. Yeah.
Now we have GBL, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of depressing words to somebody like me, but I do understand. It's true.
We have GBL. Yeah, it's true. I wish I had, in retrospect, I wish I had driven earlier, like learned to drive earlier, and then like drove around to like Moreno Valley and Corona and other areas to battle because I know they have uh like communities as well. But definitely UCR is really diverse, so I we don't really have issues with people not getting along. I think that's just a part of UCR. Like we just deal with different cultures all day long, so it's just part of everything. So yeah.
So for you guys, it's not a big issue, but it's also not a conversation that you're having, right? Like you've never had an
Yeah.
explicit conversation where anybody said, you know what, we've got this problem, or what could we do about this? It's just kind of something that you don't see as a big issue where you are.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I should have that conversation more. Because I don't know if they're like I don't know. Obviously, I can't like read minds, so I don't know if they're feeling underrepresented or like what. But I feel like they definitely aren't because like they have their own raid groups, and it's like they just come to like UCR and like I'm not just talking about one race in particular, like all races, like everyone just sort of meets at UCR and does their own thing, and I never really talk about that sort of stuff because I don't know how to put that in words and like not come off as like, trying to be political
Right.
or anything. But yeah,
Right. So
I mean, I'm definitely welcome to everyone, obviously. So it's like, yeah, I don't know how to address that
no,
without.
I mean, to me, this is a difficult conversation, and it's mostly difficult because people bring a whole lot of different perspectives to the table,
Yeah,
and it's very easy to be misconstrued. And I have always been concerned with the idea of uh, me seeking out someone to be on one of my streams specifically because of who they are, um, as opposed to just based on performance in a tournament or something like that. Like just going based on that. Like let me find someone of a certain class that I should have on my stream, because one, it's difficult to ask those questions anymore. It's when you ask, you don't always get straightforward answers. And two, I feel like especially in the content creation space that there definitely is a lot less representation. And I would ask London to kind of start us going on that as well, because he's been discussing getting into streaming in the near future, but it's just one of those things where there's nothing you can do to deny the fact that there is a dynamic at play where there's a limited number of black individuals who stream this content, probably stream overall. But what do you think contributes to that, London, and what's driving kind of your personal interest in getting involved?
These are all good questions. And before I answer, I do want to just let you know that you don't have to, you can ask me any question that you want while you have me here. I know that you mentioned that it's uncomfortable to ask questions and you don't always get a straightforward answer, but I think I'll be a good person to change
Right. No,
your mind on that.
no.
So
Oh, I feel very good about what answers we will get from you as well. It's kind of I'm trying to put Ethan at ease as well, because I understand as a white guy kind of the
Yeah.
dynamics at play when you're kind of starting that conversation. There's a whole lot of ways that you can be construed, misconstrued,
yeah,
even if nobody is taking you to task for it. Like, I mean, you're still gonna get that kind of like, oh, he's a white dude who doesn't know what's going on kind of response. Like, he can't relate. He's very uncool. He's very this, that, or the other, or he's like a bleeding
Yeah.
heart. It's very hard to say anything objective without somebody deciding that you're making it a political thing, when you're really just trying to ask questions and figure
yeah.
out people's perspectives. And
Well,
even you,
I still wanted to put it out there for you that
no, I
it's
agree.
you're
And I know that one of the things that I remember was from maybe a week or two ago. I remember that it was probably 2-3 weeks ago. I put something out there about that, and you just said, "Just do it." Like, that was your answer, was just do it. And like, that's kind of that. I love the response there, but I just feel like maybe there's not unanimity in that perspective. There's definitely a group of individuals who feel that if you try to put someone else forward and give their perspective on your platform, that you are tokenizing them, or you're trying to use them as some sort of a tool, when I mean, I just want to have a conversation, and the bottom line is, if you don't bring people to the table, you can't have a meaningful conversation. So I appreciate that you bring a very open mind to this, and I'm very glad that you personally just say, just do it. But I hope that other people feel the same.
Yeah, we're having this conversation at work right now too, just about race, and I'm on the the inclusion board, and we're just talking about how to address these conversations. And I am one of the from a Black person's perspective, I am one of those people that is like, just talk about, let's address it, because I think of it this way, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right?
Right.
And sometimes, like, if you don't talk about it, then you're ignoring it. And then on the other hand, you're tokenizing. So I just think the best thing to do is just to be as pure in your intentions as possible. And the majority of the people will understand that and will see that. And you're always going to have somebody that's a naysayer. So these are things that we're talking about at work right now. So that's why I am emphasizing to you and anybody else that wants to have these conversations that we can do that with no problem.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And I just want everyone else to understand that even though I'm having London on as a representative who is Black, I don't pretend that his perspective represents all Black people. And if anybody else wants to come on and give me another perspective another day, my door is open, my DMs are open. Just come on by, and we will
just
talk.
slide in there.
Just slide on in there. That's right. So what do you see in the content creation space from both a personal perspective and from the perspective as a minority? Do you see the two kind of together, or are they two completely different issues to you? Like, if you want to personally be involved in content creation and you happen to be a minority, or you want to put yourself forward as an example of like a role model for other people to become interested in your communities?
Kind of all of those things that you mentioned. And let me give you a little back story. So, as I mentioned to you, I run the train here in San Fernando Valley, and the train, I mean the raid train. I've been doing that since raids came out, and we use Slack. We didn't use Discord, so excuse me, I'm not really familiar with Discord. I'm learning each day. I'm surprised I was able to figure out the instructions on how to get here today, but we use Slack pretty much.
Okay.
And I used to not have a picture on there on Slack. I used to just have like my favorite Game of Thrones character. I used to just have like the Night King there, and people would not know what I would look like. And so even though I'm organizing like 70, 80, 90 raids a day, people didn't know who I was when they showed up at a raid. And there used to be people that would not even speak to me at all, period. Like if we were face to face, they would not say hello. They would not look in my direction until someone else said my name, London. And they're like, "Oh, you're London." And I used to always find that interesting. Like, people would be like, the question in my head was, why are they not speaking? Like, is it because I'm black, or is it because I'm gay? Is it because they're nervous and shy? Those things used to happen all the time. And I always wanted to be the best at what I was doing so that you could not deny me in the game. Like you could not come out and raid because it was me on my train without speaking to me, or you couldn't say, he's not one of the best players that I know, because I was, in our community. So that was one of my drivers. And so that's kind of been like my building block on this game too. It's just, like when I stand in the room, I'm one of the only gay people there. I'm one of the only black people there. So that's why I try to be the best at the game that I possibly can, because I know I'm underrepresented. I don't know that I don't think that it's anybody's fault that I am, but I am. So I still make it my responsibility to try to represent the people who are not playing, that look like me and that are like me. I hope that made sense.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And from a personal standpoint, what would you say now has been pushing you in the direction of wanting to take to the content space specifically?
Yeah, so it kind of goes into what I said. So I kind of, I don't follow any black streamers that play Pokemon, because there aren't any. And now that I think of it, actually, there is a black streamer that I think, but I've never seen him on Twitch. Um, so yeah, why not be one of the few, so that other people that are thinking about not playing the game anymore because for whatever reason, they're like, oh, look at this black guy. Like, there's other black people that are playing this game, or this gay guy. I mean, I hate to, I know people look at me and they see gay, so there's no point in pretending like that doesn't exist.
Right.
So if that's something that they're going to see and that's going to identify with, and that's going to keep them interested in playing, then why not be that for them?
Have you?
But I also want to. I'm sorry. I want
No,
one
go
thing.
ahead.
I also want to have the respect from the people that don't necessarily directly identify with me as well. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. What challenges have you given like much of a look to just kind of like the landscape of what's out there, how many people there are out there, what kind of content's being offered? Have you thought about the challenge of going out there and jumping into this crowded pool and figuring out like where your spot is?
I've thought about everything. That's why I haven't done it yet. It's a scary thought, right? Because I know that some people are going to be tuning in to learn from you and cheer you on and motivate you, and all of those positive things. But then you also have those people that will be trolling you, will be there to be negative and to kind of find fault in things that you say or do. And so all of those things run through my head, and I'm one of those people that this is a personality flaw that I know I have. I overthink everything. And so that's like, I want to start my stream with a perfect layout. I want to have all the right equipment. I want to have the right things to say. And, I want to look the certain way, all of those things. And those things have prevented me from jumping right in.
Well, let me say from my standpoint, I can tell you that absolutely nobody starts from a place of even close to knowing what they're doing. So because of that, I would say if that's all that's holding you back, I hope that your first stream is tomorrow, because I think anybody who wants to do this and really wants to do it should get going as soon as possible, and just like, it's trial by fire really. And I would definitely be happy to have conversations with you off stream about anything I could do to help. But I know you have a lot of other people in the community as resources as well. Obviously, I assume you have enough connections with King on some level. You maybe had some conversations. I don't know, but
I'll take all the help I can get.
Yes, I am here. I'm here to provide whatever I can, even though I get a little bit spread thin at times. I'm offering myself up to answer whatever questions I can.
Sure.
Well, I
I would
appreciate that.
100% agree too. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
just jump in. Like literally that's it. Like my first stream was a walking outside stream and I literally had black borders.
Wow,
Like I didn't
I have to
even
go back
care.
and watch that so that I can see.
Oh, don't do that, please. Don't watch those. Those have a lot of views. Please don't do that. Those clips, please. Okay. I should have talked. Okay, continue.
You should always
I'm
talk,
actually
Ethan.
going
We've
to
had
go
this
back to your
conversation.
channel and look.
We have had this conversation.
London, I think it's so important for you to just kind of understand that the community needs you and more streamers like you. And that even if you don't feel like you're 100% prepared and nothing's going to be super perfect, we really want to see your streams.
Well,
And
thank you. That's very nice.
as
Encouraging. I
someone
appreciate
who does not even remotely stream, this is the only place that you will ever see me on Twitch is on Jiggly Dad's channel. But I do feel like I can speak for a majority of the community when I say we need more gay men, we need more gay women, we need men of color and women of color to do these things. We need examples for our community. We need people, no offense to Ethan or Jiggly Dad, we need people that are not, 25 to 45-year-old white men.
Oh, you
We
just
need more
upped the
women.
bracket. The first
I'm
time you said
sorry.
it, I was outside of it, and I
I had to
felt
include
better.
you this time.
You called me 25. I'm honored.
Yes, I'm up aging you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need more representatives for sure, like
Mhm.
what Alyssa said. So, yeah.
Just do
I
it.
appreciate that. And one thing I want to say is, I'm thinking about this, and this is not the first conversation that made me think about this recently, is that I never think about what people need, like in terms of like a role model or just somebody that they can connect with. I think I walk in this like bubble that because people do accept me and people do generally like me and take to me, but so I kind of think that's everyone's story, and I think that and I realize that that's not, and so it really is. I think it's important. I think what you just said, Alyssa, really is. I think you're right. I think people do need to see someone that looks different than the crowd. So I appreciate you saying that.
Good. I'm
So,
glad.
so how much of a consumer of streamers are you right now? Like, do you do a lot of reviewing of what's already out there, or is it more just you want to be part of the space and you don't
No,
necessarily consume a lot?
I was just telling the two of them here that I think I need to detox from streaming. I watch, so I have a friend here in my local community named Mark Danger. He's a high level PvPer as well, and he um, told me about Twitch, and I was so against it because I just feel like this is going to be another thing that I am going to be addicted to. And
You're
and
not
so I
wrong.
started out, and he wasn't wrong. And so I started out with just watching one person that I knew, right, King, and then I start. Then when he went off, I was like, "Oh, actually, you're not done yet. I want to watch something else." And I was just telling Ethan that I probably watch 70% of my day, even when I'm working or just laying in the bed, like I'm watching Twitch now. So I have I have my 6 or 7 people that I consistently watch every single day. And then when they raid other channels, I watch those as well. And so now it's just consuming me. So yes, I've looked at layouts that I really, really like. I've looked at I've listened to the way they welcome their followers and subscribers and all these things. I'm still learning a lot, but I consumed maybe too much Twitch right now.
That's probably true for all of us. Maybe Alyssa less than the rest, but um, so in your viewing, would you say that there's anything specifically lacking in the content, or that the direction of the content could be tailored in a way that would be more inclusive, or do you think that Pokemon PvP is kind of by its nature just not not really an inclusive slash exclusive kind of thing? It's just a game, and if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't.
Oh, that's a good question. And I think that most people that I initially was watching was just about themselves and their battles, and that was it, right? Um, but I've watched some streamers recently that kind of make me realize that they have an interest in who's watching them, how they come across to those individuals, what they can, how they can add value to those people's lives. Um, and I think that's important. Like, for example, I don't know if I should say a person's name, but I'm going to say it anyway. Uh, I think his name is Sensei. Sensei, I
Super
think.
Science
Percent
Sensei.
Yeah, Super Saiyan Sensei. I didn't know he has quickly become one of my favorite streamers
Let's go.
because he's super smart. That's first of all. He's funny. He loves puns, and then he's just also very inclusive. Like when people are having bad days, he makes sure that he addresses them by name, and he gives them something specific about their situation that they can take away from his channel and his stream. And I think that's the kind of streamer I want to be. I love his channel. I really do. I think it's great.
I guess that kind of answers my other question, is that when you come to the streaming space right now, your thought is that you want to be in that sort of vein, like, or is there something else that you think that you'll bring to the table from your perspective? It obviously, you can't always quantify what you bring to the table, but
Right, you can.
that's where you want to be, that kind of lane.
But that's the role I play in my community now. It's like, and this kind of sounds like self-serving, kind of like talking, like what I do now. But like, I don't just raid, right? I have community days where we collect backpacks and we donate them to schools, or we do pet drives. We collect all this pet food and pet toys, and we donate them to our shelters. And so I want those. I don't know that I can do that on the same scale that I do it now, but do something that gives some value back to the community, not just myself. Because I don't want people to watch me for me. Like I wanted them to watch me for the content. So I noticed that a lot of people don't show their face on stream, and I've even considered that because I think they're making it about the content that they provide versus them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I kind of want that to be my vibe. Like it's not like you're coming to watch me play, and I love to play, but I want you to leave with something else other than like seeing me win a set or lose a set.
Right. Absolutely. Um, what about the two of you, Alyssa? You aren't a huge avid consumer of streaming, but to the extent that you consume streaming, what do you think of kind of the landscape of what's out there, and what somebody like London, or anybody of uh, any minorities would bring to the landscape that you would particularly appreciate?
I think it's just really cool to. It's kind of like you're making friends with these people that you're watching on stream, and I think it's really cool to get to experience those different people. And watching the same people over and again is great because you feel like some kind of attachment to them. But it's really cool to get to know new people too. So I really enjoy seeing some different faces. Maybe not just GBL. If you want to stream anything other than that, because that's just so saturated. And I like GBL. I don't know. I want to see some other stuff too.
Right.
Just like even if it was just you chatting while you're, doing your daily gift opening and knocking out your GBL sets and doing whatever else. Like I just like to have people like chatting on in the background. Like it's just kind of nice to have that playing while you're doing laundry or doing anything
Yep.
at all.
One step at a time. We have to welcome London into the space, and then work on him being hardcore about things other than GBL. We can't make
Well, I
him
like
change
this.
it all
I
at
like that
once.
Alyssa said that because I actually thought about that because I raid because, and I'm gonna say this and I mean this and like I don't mean to sound. I want to be humble about this, but I want to also kind of showcase what we do here in the San Fernando Valley. What we do here when we raid is unique because we run a train that's huge, 60, 70 people at a time that are following directions and are driving from stop to stop. Like I know that people raid and have conquered 130 raids in a day. I know that people do that, right? But I've never seen, and I've raided around the world. I've never seen anyone, any community perform like the San Fernando Valley community performs when raiding. Like so to see 70 people at a raid and them drive safely to one to the next stop, like that's something that I would like for people to be able to see. So I'm glad Alyssa said that because I was wondering if people would want to see something outside of just GBO sets. So I'm going to include that.
I would love to see that. What is your traffic situation with 70 cars?
Well, yeah, well, you know, we go very high speed. And I mean high speed meaning we let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. We go at a very fast pace here.
Statements on this stream are not admissible in court in a speeding trial.
So we have a lawyer.
Good. We wafu here, and so, but we organize wafu. So it's like we might do 100 raids in a day, but we have start times to those raids, and people kind of know like when they're gonna go in because you can't just go in when you want, otherwise people would miss the raid. But the traffic situation is, you know, everyone doesn't always go because some people can't keep up, right? So some people just can't make it to every raid. So they skip 3 or 4 raids and they still do more raids in that day than they would have done had they not been on the train. So traffic is actually fine. Sometimes we cause a pile up, right? Sometimes people are blowing us wondering like, what are we doing? You know, where's this group of cars going or why they're blocking the road? But for the most part, we're fine.
I can just like imagine little parking lots here, like where I'm at, like being overwhelmed with like 30, 40 cars.
Yeah. We've been cursed out by, you know, by patrons. We've been pulled over by the police. And we actually have police officers that have one time pulled us over just to let us know that they play Pokemon too so that they can play.
That's awesome. They're like, hey, could I get in on this?
Yeah. So we have definitely caused quite the ruckus before, but for the most part, it's very organized chaos.
That's kind of an offshoot of a question, but what would you say is your kind of mentality and way of viewing police officers in the context of being both a Black man who is driving from one place to another all the time and potentially very, very likely to get pulled over because, I mean, frankly, they could probably come up with a reason to pull you over while you're playing Pokemon Go or the like. And what has been the dynamic there for you in the midst of all of the national conversations that have been going on more heatedly over the last several months, but certainly over the course of years?
Yeah. So I come from a place of privilege as well, like being a gay male, because honestly, I believe that the first thing people see when they see me is gay. I think that my color, my race is secondary. You know, everyone doesn't have that, you know, I don't want to say luxury because it's not a luxury, but that's something that I know I have. So people, I think I'll look like less threatening or non-threatening, should I say, to people, and I've never felt that the color of my skin was a factor in while I'm being pulled over by the police.
Right.
It's generally when I've been, you know, driving too fast or in the wrong lane because I'm playing Pokemon. But generally, if I'm being honest, I don't feel that in general people see Black first. I think they see, oh, that's a gay guy.
Right. Yeah.
And I know it's kind of hard for people to understand that, but I'm pretty sure that when people see me, they don't see the color first. They see like, oh, he's a gay guy.
I mean, I can, once again, a very nuanced and somewhat difficult conversation, but my feeling is it kind of goes back to just the way that we as people can tend to be wired to see things in stereotypes. And so the first thing, they may identify you as Black from afar. They might see your hair color. They might hear the way you speak. But I think that, yeah, the total package would probably present them with someone who is non-threatening, as opposed to just kind of they don't see you and think that, you know, this guy is a gangbanger, this guy is a
Gangbanger.
no, but I mean, a lot of people are hardwired to have kind of a certain idea. Like if they see a black man in a hoodie, they think this guy is a thug. He's you know, it's just something that people react to. It doesn't necessarily mean it's rooted in any truth, but that's not the
Yeah.
image you get when you see him and you interact with him. And so he might not have the same tendency to trigger some of the more base instincts of society or humanity, if you will. And so he's
Yeah.
able to relate to them on a similar basis that maybe someone they would identify with more closely, because they don't see it as a threat. That is that.
Yeah, my brother and I have exact opposite experiences. My brother is he's the if you could think of like a black guy that is like he has tattoos, he has a little bit of muscle here and there. He has he has a different demeanor
Right.
about himself than I do, and a different look overall. And I think
Right.
that he has had the experience that you described. He has had that experience. He's been pulled over for no reason. He's been discriminated. He's been people grab their purse or go the other direction when they see him coming. And he's probably smarter than me. So I mean, I think it's just, people do look at and they see stereotypes and they kind of put people in categories. And I think that him and I are perfect examples of how we fall in opposite ends of that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like all these things are very difficult to say without losing lots of nuance. But no, I'm not implying that I think that black people as a whole are gangbangers. I'm saying that there's a very easy stereotype that black
It's
youth
the
fall
word
into.
It's
is
just
the thing. It's
it's
the
Is
gangbangers
that just
word.
I don't know what it's
Yeah, that's
called.
the reason why she laughed is you said gangbangers and people don't say that anymore.
Yeah, it's
okay?
just
Yeah,
a
it's
it's a
just
I
the
word.
boomers that
apologize. All
PvP
right.
thing.
All right. I'm sorry. I will I will. That's
I
noted.
don't,
The noted. All right.
but
Way to
yeah,
derail my train
anyways.
of thought, but
I'm
I
sorry.
point taken.
But
Um,
before I derail even further, I just wanted to like mention everyone in chat was talking about like how they like Sylph so much and all that with like streaming and stuff. So if you wanted to do GBL, it's fine, like London, but I think a lot of people like Sylph too. So just know that.
Mhm.
And also, if you guys aren't aware, Meta Mondays are tomorrow. It's tomorrow, and
oh
we'll be doing
wow,
Sylph.
wow.
Shameless plug. Shameless
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 plug.
plug.
plug for Ethan there. Yes, shameless plug for the
Me-
stream.
Meta Mondays
All right.
tomorrow. I
I
just want to mention that.
Yeah,
I do understand the context everyone is putting the phrase in. I get that, but but they say use the word thug, and that word is loaded as well. People these days think that you can't use the word thug without implying that you're saying something racist as well, which it's very hard to choose your words these days. I apologize for
Mhm.
being giggle inducing in this instance. I will
Yeah,
say
definitely.
that a black male wearing a hoodie is seen to be threatening. They're seen to be maybe lower class, more likely to be a criminal, that kind of thing. That's the stereotype that a lot of people fall back on, and that I was
Mhm.
assuming that London is somewhat insulated from due to his own way that he presents. Is that a better way of
yeah.
putting?
But you don't have to go that long route. We understood what you mean. It was just
Okay.
funny that you said
They just want to make
that.
fun of me like usual. I'm used to it. It's all right. I can deal. So what do you think that the answer is any different from the standpoint of sexuality and gender identity, that sort of thing, in the PoGo community and the PvP community? I would say in the broader PoGo community, I think I maybe know more people who have kind of diverse gender identities than probably anywhere else in life, but not necessarily so in PvP. Would you echo that, or do you have a different experience?
No, I'm just thinking of all the people that I know in our local community, and I think that I'm the only person that I can say is a gay guy
Right.
in this whole community, and we have a pretty large community here. Um, I'm pretty sure there are people who, live the lifestyle, just maybe not out in the open. But
Right.
as far as people that identify like in the spectrum, the queer spectrum, I think that I may be one of the only few. Um, I do, yeah, even the streamers that I watch, I don't think like no one talks about it.
Right.
Because I was thinking about this recently. I was thinking, like, am I the only gay person that plays this game? I know I'm not. But I was like,
Definitively not.
am I'm like, I don't, on Twitter, I don't see anybody who's like openly gay and talks about being gay. And maybe
Right.
it's because that's just not, relevant to what, the reason why they're on Twitter. But I think about that all the time. I don't really notice that many gay people playing the game.
And do the same dynamics that we've kind of talked about apply in terms of uh, boundaries, the way you have or haven't felt comfortable? Do you think that for you it's all been fine and it's been more personal decisions, or do you see there being different or bigger boundaries for folks with different gender or sexuality identities?
I think just in general in life, we're fighting an uphill battle with in 2020 where people that are gay are still like chuckled at when they walk down the street or when in the grocery store. I was just walking in the airport in DC a few days ago and I heard a group of guys say, ah, ha, 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 he's gay. And I was just thinking to myself, like, wow, it's 2020 and being gay is still like something to like point out, you know? So I said that to say, I think that just in general in a life, being gay, um, I think it's about on par as being black. People, I think they're about equal.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
guess
yeah, go
along
ahead.
those
Sorry.
lines I could see where just kind of the evolution of culture and these conversations have been that if I were in your shoes, I think I would probably be more concerned with people being crude about sexuality issues than I would about race on a daily basis. If you were going online, like it's still widely accepted in certain circles, especially on the internet, to kind of have those opinions. So I guess that to me it would feel like a bigger boundary, but I just was wondering what your perspective was.
Yeah, for me as an individual, people don't really treat me differently because I think people respect the numbers that they see. I know that sounds silly, but this game is like an elitist like thing. Like people, like if you have high stats and high numbers, people seem to respect you more. And that's what I've noticed from my perspective. And I think that since I've always been one of the first people to hit level 40, or I have the most catches, or I have the most raids, people just kind of tend to at least hide any like you know um, discriminatory characteristics that they have, and they treat me like I want to be treated. Uh, so I can't say that I experienced, like I mentioned before in the beginning, it used to be people would come to the raids and they wouldn't speak and they wouldn't, those things used to make me uncomfortable because I knew it was something that was causing them to do that. But I think now I've garnered their respect.
That's so true. Like, I feel like you have to prove yourself if you're in a lower represented group. Like, my first couple months in my own local community was horrible. People were so shitty to me. And like, I even got kicked out of our raid chat after I joined because they were like, "Oh, nobody invited you." I was like, "Oh, okay." And yeah, so yeah, they were so super shitty. And after a while, I mean, I sucked at first at PvP, and then I got good, and now I'm one of the better ones in our state. And I feel like people were a lot nicer to me after I got good. People were not nearly as nice to me when I still sucked. And that's
Yeah,
horrible because, like, as a community leader now, I really want to reach out to the people that are just getting involved. And I would bend over backwards to do anything I could do to help them get better, to give them my own strategies or help them team build or practice with them or do whatever it takes to make them comfortable and to keep them coming back. Because I wish that someone had done that for me when I first started.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
I'm
an
the same, and
amazing. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say I think that's an amazing kind of point to bring up into this conversation because aside from the fact that I am all about kind of, you know, building community and meeting new people with different viewpoints and just life experiences through this game, like if we want PvP to be successful, especially on a local level, in areas that are not as big as say Los Angeles, I mean, we really are always looking for people who are not necessarily elite, people who we're trying to get them introduced into the game and don't feel the need to prove themselves just to step into the arena, if you will, for, I mean, it literally the Sylph arena. Um, so that really those are the kinds of people that we should be most interested in reaching out to, people that would want to be involved but feel like they have to be at a certain level because I mean, frankly, if you're a battler, do you want all of the influx of talent to be better than you are because they've already proven themselves, or do you want there to be like a wide range of participation across all levels? I mean, if you want to get numbers up, if you want to have bigger communities, if you want to have fun events, I mean, you just need to get numbers up, and whatever source they come from is good. And if it's harder to get people who are intimidated because they haven't proven themselves, then those are the kinds of people that we should be looking for.
And that's very important. And I'm going to take this conversation as like some like as constructive feedback for myself as well as a lot of the people that play. I've always been like welcoming, especially to the people that are not level 40, people that are just getting started. But there's like terms that people throw around like, oh, scrubs, like, oh, you're a scrub. And I see those things, but I kind of just go about my day, you know. Sometimes I speak up, but for the most part, I think that everyone recognizes it as a joke. But then I do realize a lot of times that people won't say anything, but it bothers them and it discourages them from really wanting to continue to play when they see high level players saying those kind of things. So I'm definitely going to make sure that going forward that I step in whenever I see that kind of conversation being had, so that people understand like no matter where you are in the game, like as long as you're enjoying it, you're still playing. Um, you should be happy and proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, I as the very geeky jiggly dad here, like I have to spend so much of my time in life just explaining to my own kids that like even though I know you're joking around with your brother and your sister, like there's honestly not a whole lot to be gained from just like burn culture, if you will, where you're just like, oh, burn, like just making fun of somebody, even if it's done in jest, because those kinds of words, regardless of whether the person is overtly hurt by them, like they're going to have a more negative impact on them than if you'd found something positive to say. And it sounds unbelievably trite and unbelievably old and whatever of me to say. I mean, it's just like a restating of, though, if you have nothing nice to say, why say anything at all? Because it's like these little things. I think that the in vogue way to describe them is microaggressions. Those like little things that you say and do that are negative toward other people, they alienate them, they push them away, they give them a more negative opinion of themselves, even if they consciously know that the things that you're saying are not true. And sometimes they don't know that. And we are all like insecure humans at the end of the day that don't like necessarily know our full self-worth. So I wholeheartedly am on board the idea that it's just none of the toxic stuff really has a place in the community. I mean, people are free to express their viewpoints and people are free to use, you know, colorful language and all that stuff if they want to. But just if you do so blindly without really considering the language you're using and the way you choose to speak to people and the way it might be received, then you're really just not doing yourself or the community a service. So
True, and some people just don't care. Like that's the thing, but I do, and so I want to make sure that those are the kind of things that I want people to walk away feeling good, like after they had a conversation with me, not negative, you know. And so I think we all have a responsibility to make sure that we do just like you said, say positive things or don't say anything at all.
right. Um, so along the lines of kind of the elitist thing, the running these complicated raid train things, one of the things that's occurred to me is that a lot of things in, especially in, I can speak only to American culture and American politics that tend to get conflated are issues of race and issues of like poverty or just income gaps. And typically there can be less income in minority communities, and therefore they're going to be disparately impacted by a lot of things. And I would think that perhaps a game like this would be one of those, because frankly it's not cheap to do the kinds of things you're describing in terms of running raids, right?
It's not cheap. No.
And do you see that having a disparate impact across kind of lines of that nature? Do you think that it would more be the case that someone would feel, I can't take part in this raid train, I can't take part in this PvP tournament because I don't have the Stardust, like
Oh yeah.
this person who's, as you know, more privileged, more wealthy, that sort of thing? Do you think that is probably a more accurate way to describe the bigger issues we have most of the time?
Oh, for sure. All of those examples that you gave are reasons why I know people don't play this game the way I play it. Um, I know people. Okay, let me give you an example of one thing that I used to have a really negative opinion of spoofers. Still kind of have still hate that when people spoof, they like show every single thing that they catch in like a chat where people are really going out and grinding for
Right.
it. That kind of gets under my skin. But for the most part, my opinion on spoofing has changed. I don't spoof and I never will, but I know people who spoof because they can't afford to drive to the raids. They can't afford to go drive around and grind the way I can do that. And so when someone actually told me that, I spoof because I can't afford to come out and play with you guys anymore. And my initial thing was to just say, well, don't play as much as, but if they enjoy the game and they like to play and they are still getting that same level of enjoyment from and they spoof, then so what? So I've done a 180 when it comes to like my thought on that. Now, when you catch six shiny Gibble and Dino in a row, then you don't need to post that in the chat because we can't get those things, and it's not fair to the people that are really like trying to get those. But um, yeah, I think that not having enough, well, not wanting to spend the money on these things can definitely prevent people from playing. Like that's why a lot of people don't play Masters here in my local area because they don't want to spend the dust on Masters, you know. And but it makes me respect Niantic even more. And I know a lot of people like give them a lot of flack, but they waited a long time before they introduced PvP because I think they wanted people to invest the resources or to like gather the resources, should I say, to really be able to play the game the way they wanted them to play it. But anyway, I said all that to say I understand why people don't do it because they just don't have the resources.
If you were to say to Niantic what steps they ought to take, or whether they're maybe just doing a perfectly fine job right now of making the game more about effort, less about money, less about other sorts of characteristics that might cut across class and other lines, what would you suggest that they do?
Oh, well, I might not be the best person because I always defend Niantic. They always tell me that I'm like, they ask me, do I work for them? Because I always defend them. And I think so there's a part of me that enjoyed the days back in the past where everyone didn't have the same things in the game, right? Some people had five Dragon Claw, Dragon Breath, Dragonites, and then somebody only had one. And some people really wanted that. And that would make trading like valuable or really like a viable part of the game. But now everybody has everything the same, right? But I think that they do. I think the Stardust is a controllable in the game. I think that since you can't buy Stardust, right, then it makes it something that prevents the people who have the most money from being able to really just have the best things. And then that's another reason why I like PvP as well, because there are people that have millions of XP but they don't know how to play. And then you have people that are level 38, 39 that are on top of the leaderboards. So I think that they are doing the best that they can to balance the game out and give everyone an equal opportunity, especially with Stardust being a reward, right? If you look at how much Stardust you've earned over the course since PvP has come out, it's quite a bit. So I think, in my opinion, I think that they're doing the best that they can to make it equal for everybody.
This is kind of one of those nuanced things as well that I think can be a little bit oversimplified, and so I'm only saying this for the purposes of making sure that I clarify my own position on it, not that I think what you said is wrong. You can't buy Stardust, but I think that the current game mechanics with regard to the way Stardust is rewarded, both based on getting reasonably large amounts from raiding, the fact that you can only buy star pieces in most instances, and that success in GBLs directly correlates to just how much Stardust you get. I do think that in essence people in fact do buy Stardust. It's just not called that. So I don't know if that's something that you would agree with or not, but I think that the distinction, it's kind of a distinction without a difference. Like I wish that were the defining point, that like how much you played the game and how much dust you were able to gather was like a direct reflection of your effort in the right parts of the game or certain parts of the game. But the way that it is currently structured, I think that there is a lot to be desired on that front, if that's the purpose of Stardust, to gate people from buying themselves a good account.
Okay, so let me clarify a couple of things. Number one, Niantic is making a lot of money. They are getting paid, okay? And I would say that Niantic gets a huge chunk of their money from me, okay? So I know I don't have any other outstanding habits other than traveling. So I think it's perfectly fine, right? If you spend your money on what you love doing, right? But I do believe a lot of their decisions and a lot of their boxes and their events is structured around how much money they want to make. So I do believe that a large part of the game comes from like revenue. It's a revenue driven, like, you know, for them. But I also know that this game has been around 4 years. And I know that even if you played moderately for 4 years, you have to have at least 5 or 6 Pokemon that you could power up and use in Masters just to play. You may not have the best things or the things that you want, but it doesn't stop you from playing the game. And I would not want them to, because I do play so hardcore, and I got to make sure I say this the right way. I wouldn't want to feel like someone who's played a fraction of the amount of time that I played also have can max out the same amount of Pokemon that I have, or they have the same amount of Stardust that I have. I don't think that I would want that, because then what will be the point of me continuing to do what I do? And that's what I enjoy doing. So it's a fine line. It's tricky. It's hard to say without sounding like I'm saying that the more you play, you should be rewarded. I mean, I just think that it's okay for everyone to have something different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely one of the things I always preach as well, is that everybody gets different things from this game, because it doesn't have an end game. It doesn't have like one set of objectives to it. Like ultimately we all have to set our own goals and ideas of how you're supposed to play it, but trying to ask somebody else to play the game you want them to play is a fool's errand. All right. Any other angles that you guys think that we ought to approach this on? I mean, I'm kind of doing this from the standpoint of having thrown together my own thoughts fairly rapidly, but I know that I'm surely not covering all the bases. What other angles can anyone think of that we haven't discussed?
Can I say one more thing first?
Go ahead.
I didn't know really when to bring this up, but it goes into streamers and streaming and just like what you said a while ago about just saying the right thing. Recently, I was watching a streamer, one of the streamers that I really enjoy too, really good battler, and they said the F word. And the F word is one word I don't use. The N word and the F word are two words you would never hear come out of my mouth. And he said this word. Oh dang! I revealed the pronouns. I was trying not to. But anyway,
Still a
he
pretty
said
large
the
group.
word. Yeah. He said the F word, and I was like flabbergasted because I just could not believe what I was hearing. And he hid behind the fact that he wasn't from this country and that word did not really mean that much to him. But I don't care where, in my opinion, I don't think that anywhere you go in the world, people don't know what that word means, especially if you speak fluent English. Um, and so I think it's a responsibility, though, from the streamer's perspective, is to make sure you put positivity out there. And so that kind of goes back to that point. It's like, you know, no streamer should be saying that, right? Because it automatically makes people who are gay and identify with being gay, right? Or even if they know someone in their family or their friends or just they're good people and know that's a bad word, it turns them off and makes them not want to look at your stream again. So I didn't really know where to bring that up, but I definitely called it out, and I said something to them in Twitter, in the message, and everyone kept asking me like, "Who is the person? Who is the person?" I wouldn't reveal their identity because sometimes I do believe people make mistakes and they just really say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and I just didn't want them to be like blackballed from the community. Um, because some really big names were reaching out saying like, who is this, so that we can, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I do know
Oh,
sometimes we
oh,
just make mistakes.
I just came to the realization what you were referring to, because when you
What
said
F?
the F
Yeah.
word,
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, I've been guilty of that more than once. But
Yeah.
you're
I knew you
talking
were
about
thinking about
6
that.
letters. You're not talking about a 4-letter
F
word.
A G G O T.
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
that one.
No,
Yes.
understood. And you know what? I want to be completely transparent. And no, this is not true. He's not used this word. I don't think I've ever heard my son use this word, but I have had to say to him when he's playing games online with his friends, I've heard him say things like such and such, is so gay, that kind of thing. And I put him
Yeah.
in line about that every time. And it's certainly something that's kind of part of gamer, streamer, YouTuber culture, maybe. And I think it's definitely on the decrease significantly. But I'm glad that I figured out which word you meant, because for a while I
I'm
was.
sorry. I didn't want to say the word
No,
because I
I
don't say
understand.
it, but I didn't know.
Unfortunately,
No,
the F
I didn't
word, the F
mean.
word here has been dropped a few times, and we try and keep it as family friendly as possible a lot of the time. But I'm just me, and I pepper it in once in a while. Ethan on the other side, he's usually about as clean cut as they come. We call him the good apple.
Okay.
I've never heard him say a bad word.
I was gonna say no wonder why you like Sai so much, because Sai really tunes it down for stream. It's awesome. Like to see him not like be a good example,
Yeah,
It's
he says fudge. That's his word.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Or like well, I mean, I try not to have even any fallback words, so there's no discrepancy there. But like I know like some people it's like, it's just a part of them. So it's like yeah, I try
Yeah, I
not to
don't
have
care.
it,
I don't care if you curse.
but
I don't care if you say a curse word, right? But like when you say the word I'm referring
Right.
to,
Yeah.
it's a
No.
right,
slur. It's a
I was
slur at
I
that
was I
point,
was
right?
literally like I was
fluff. Yeah.
2/3 of the way into that conversation trying to process it on one level, and then I realized where you were going, and I was like, makes 100% more sense than what I was thinking. But I
Oh,
mean, I
I'm
do know.
sorry. I should have been clear.
No, I
So
mean, but I
So
mean, I
so
do know
when
people who have exactly the same stance on the other F word, which is that it's unpleasant to hear, and it goes back to what I was saying before about like it doesn't necessarily uh, have a positive effect on your
yeah,
listening audience to utter the word regardless of where it's coming from. And that's not where I fall, but I fully understand and appreciate that perspective. But yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I think anybody who decides that they are going to uh, joke using words of that nature in this day and age, I think that they need to be, at a minimum, brought to think about it if they're not already. I don't necessarily think shaming is
Right.
necessary, but I think that they should think about the impact of those words. And the one that is it's funny, the culture moves at a glacial pace, and the one you will hear constantly that I really try not to use myself is you hear people say they got gypped out of something, and it's referring to, it
Mm.
originally comes from just gypsies, and people think that it just is a word at this point. It's kind of taken on its own life, and people don't understand where it
Yeah.
comes from. So it's I that's something that's obviously so far down the road in terms of like groups that people think about, but honestly, just like when you're using your language, like I encourage people to not only consider the effect of their words, but just flat out don't use a word if you don't know what it means. Like, don't try and impress your friends by using a different
Yeah.
word. If you want to say I got screwed out of something, if you want to say that I, got cheated out of
Like,
something, if you want to
the guy
say
Ripped
that,
ripped me
off.
off. Ripped off. Exactly.
right,
Ripped me off.
whatever, if you want to say all these things without
Shoot.
just saying a word that you can't kind of dissect in your own mind, like, I would encourage you to do that. It's not a sign of a lesser intellect to use basic words. It's a sign of a lesser intellect to try and use words where you don't understand what they mean. So
And I'd say a lot of people in chat, I think now it kind of sucks because the whole conversation I think was lost when everyone else thought that I was saying the FUCK
right,
word
right, exactly.
versus the other F word. And so a lot of people were like,
Right.
he's approved. But no, by no means.
No.
I am not. This word is a slur. The six-letter word that I'm referring to is a
Yeah,
slur that
definitely.
he shouldn't have been saying.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Did you I couldn't tell if you were trying to interject more, Ethan, or no.
No, I was just gonna say, what were your opinions on Sai saying fluff? But it's just a joke because it's an F word, so it's just
Yeah, I love
it was
it.
just a joke. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
No, because I've honestly thought about it. I do occasionally say a bad word here and there, but I try my
Right.
best not to for the most part, especially not in a public setting. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, at work, they curse all the time, but they have never heard me say a curse word because I think it just alters the way people see you and it opens the door for people to kind of treat you differently when you go that way. But I love it because it means to me that he's consciously making the decision to just put good words out there, right? Because fluff doesn't even sound bad. Like it sounds so good that you just want to hug them, right? Like it's a good
Yeah.
word.
Exactly. I think it's a great decision, to be honest too. I think the reason he's so good at it is because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he's also a teacher.
Yeah,
So
science
like,
teacher.
yeah, he's a science teacher. So he's able to like incorporate those things he's learned through teaching and
Yeah.
like, yeah, put it on stream. So yeah, I try to emulate that. I am guilty of saying the J word that Jiggly mentioned, jipping,
It's
but
not
like
it's actually not
it,
the J word, it's a G
Gee.
word, but people think of
oh
it.
gee,
Yeah.
okay, well I just, oh gosh,
No, it's
that's
okay. No, it's
oops.
it's understood. I
Oh
GY.
yeah, because it's GY,
yeah,
GYP. Yeah, okay.
right.
Well, I mean, like,
We
I don't
know
know.
you
I
don't
feel
mean
like in
anything, but
slang it's
it's
J.
just a question of trying to bring all that kind of
Now,
stuff into focus. It's like if people
yeah,
understand where things come from, then people are less likely to use it. So when
GYP.
I say not to do that, it's just from a perspective of why hurt anyone by saying that, even if it's like 0.01% of people. Now that you know what it is, you're going to be conscious of it. So
Heck yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I've heard that before, but then I just forgot it. But now that
right.
I've heard it again, I'm just not going to say it anymore. So there we go.
That's
I'm just
right.
going to say, I usually like to fall back on oh man or like, uh, yeah. But yeah, that's what I
Oh,
try to do nowadays because everything like shoot and darn are like, whether you think about it or not, those are like derivations of like the S word and the D word. I don't know. I'm like so pure that I don't even say those words. But like they're derivations, like they have implications there, and like flip is like, or like fluff even. But like at least you're making conscious, like I don't know.
I'm not gonna agree. I don't agree with those things.
I'm like super like I don't not even in like real life situations do I curse. So like I try my best to avoid all of that. You know,
I think that's
sometimes
amazing.
yeah, I don't know. Like it was like in middle school, people would make it their mission to like get me to say a bad word. They'd be like, "Hey, I'll pay you like $1 if you say the F word right now. If you just scream it." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna do that because that would be dumb. Like, why would I do that?"
Yeah.
For
And
the
I
dollar.
No, it's only $1. I wouldn't even do it for $10. Like, no,
Wow.
nah.
$10 is like a whole meal at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, but that meal at Chick-fil-A revolves around me saying the F word.
Oh man.
But it's the Lord's chicken, and he would forgive you.
No, I'm not saying the F word for chicken. So.
And I don't even eat at Chick-fil-A because they don't like gay people.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Oh,
so true.
And
okay.
It sucks because they have the best chicken minis. Like the chicken minis they have with extra honey butter.
Really
I used to go there
Oh
every
my
morning.
god, yeah.
Oh,
So
it's so
good.
delicious.
Before we get into that, I just want to say I don't know how I don't know how I should go about saying this, but I am religious, but I'm not at all like I know there's like a huge like there's like this huge like stereotype revolving around like religious people that we like completely tear down anyone that's like gay or like homophobic. I am not one of those people. Just so you know, not everyone is a part of that. So I love everyone. I will include everyone. I've had
We
people
love
like
you
my
back.
yeah, exactly. One of my closest coworkers, like that I've talked to recently, like he's like he's homo. Like I really don't care.
Okay.
I really don't care. Like
Does he want you to use that terminology? Or
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said it like that.
Okay, can I just stop you real quick? I'm going to say this, and this is important what you just said, because we become now. I always tell my friends like we can't be super sensitive about everything.
Right.
You know, like some people feel like they can't say black. Some people feel like they can't say gay. Like, oh, gosh, I am black. I am gay. Like you can say it. It's in the context and how you say things, right?
Okay.
So,
yeah, I didn't. Okay, just to clear anything that I just said, I don't actually call people like gay. I usually say homo or hetero. That's how I distinguish. So like and that's not even like I'm trying to be like, you know, not trying to say the word. That's how I distinguish. So it's like I come from that,
it's
and
part
it's
of
like
lazy Zoomer culture where you guys have to shorten everything. Is that what you're saying? It's okay.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know what
giving
it is.
you grief. Don't worry. Don't.
I'm getting wrecked. Oh no. Okay. Anyways,
I
love the guy.
Sweat it.
I love the guy, dude. I don't even care. Like that coworker, he's amazing. He's an amazing dude. He has a lot of great values, and he supports me all the freaking time on stream when I know he shouldn't. Like everyone's going through such a rough time right now. And like he supports me so much that it literally sometimes like I'll turn off stream and cry because like that's like I just want to give it back to him. Like I probably will pay him back. Like I don't want that. Like,
no, you should let people bless you. Since you're religious, you know that you shouldn't block people's blessing, and if they're blessing you, you should let them bless you.
Right.
But I don't think that homo is the right word, and I think just so you know, I think that if you homo, it doesn't bother me. But if you say that,
my other people, okay,
yeah, you can say that person is a homo. That's like a slur too.
Right.
You can't.
Okay, I'll be more mindful and cautious. Okay, I don't actually have this conversation a whole lot. So this is like the second time I've had this conversation. The other time I had it with him. So like, so
your friends are always gonna be okay with it. Like your friends are gonna be okay with what you say to them because they know you're their friend. But if you said if you were like, oh, are you a homo? Somebody's gonna be upset.
Right.
Someone's gonna, yeah. And that's why I don't have that conversation very often because I don't know how it's interpreted. So I'm like, I didn't know how I didn't know how either of them were interpreted, so I figured just
Yeah. If
call.
you want to ever
I don't
refer
know.
to me, you can just say gay. Gay is
For
fine
sure.
too.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
London
I'll
is
just say
gay.
gay then. Yeah. It it's
That
so
sounds
I
like
don't
sounds like the way that my son would be online if he was describing a map in a Fortnite game that he didn't like, and I would have
Yeah,
to
London
chastise
is
him.
gay.
All right, yeah, no,
no.
unless there's
Oh,
another
man.
direction you guys want to go with this conversation, we have gotten to almost the 2-hour mark, and
I'm
I was
sweating.
thinking that we could transition into talking about the team tournaments, especially Battle of the Servers, since Alyssa's got that underway. Have you ever participated in any team PvP stuff, London?
Never.
Let me tell you, I think personally, from my standpoint, I think it's the most fun because even though you have kind of that level of like pressure to perform for your team or whatever, it's like much more of like a collaborative kind of environment where you're actually like, unlike most of PvP where all you have to root for is yourself, like you can root for
Yeah,
somebody that you identify with, you chose them to be on your team, and you're in a group. And so I think that is a ton of fun. And
that
between
actually would be fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Alyssa was, I mean, in my mind, the pioneer of all this stuff
Oh,
by setting that stuff up with AR PvP, and it's been evolving. And Ghost Stadium has since picked up the format as well, and they do a great job with it also in their different ways. And I would definitely encourage you to seek out a team, and it's tons of fun. And I find it a lot less stressful than the
Yeah,
whole self
I
thing.
know a good team right now. I could just call on. I'm ready.
Yeah. So that's definitely something you should think about. But I would say, Alyssa, if you want to kind of talk about where that's at, we just got brackets, and I'm going to use that opportunity to duck out for a quick break for the moment, and I will be right back while Alyssa gives us the skinny. And if you guys want to talk at all about our excitement, team building, and all that, you can do that as well.
well, I definitely don't want to talk about like our current matchups
Well, not
because you
that.
never know who's watching. I was prepared to too. I was like looking around and like trying to imagine what I'm going to do. And then I was like, you know what? Probably don't talk about this where everybody could see it. Yeah. Because there's so many people that are in
Everyone's
there.
looking. Look at chat.
Yeah,
Everyone's
no.
looking.
And we already team built on stream, but nobody go back and watch that. That's not important and you won't learn anything.
Yeah, don't. The team's changed anyway, so yeah.
Everyone's changed.
Mhm.
But I can promise you a Zoom rule is on every team.
Not on my team.
Not on my team.
Hmm.
Not on my team either.
Wow. So
Ethan's
you're
got
anti
such
Zoom
a
rule.
good
Okay.
team.
Yeah, I
Well,
actually have a really good team.
no.
No one will ever guess it ever. Yeah, not in a
I mean,
million
they
years.
could go like look at the bracket
No, they
and
can't.
see it. I mean,
No, they
I can
can't.
guarantee that I can guarantee that I can guess 3 of the Pokemon on your team.
Oh,
let's hear
actually?
it.
Okay,
I don't
let's
think you
do it.
can.
I
Yeah,
don't
he's got a
think you
weird
can.
team.
I think I can.
Okay.
But like the shadow, like take the word shadow out, but just like the actual Pokemon
Yeah.
itself.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. I think you have a Hypno on your team.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No Hypno?
No,
So
no,
it's
no.
a draft, which means none of us can have the same Pokemon. Like
Okay.
yeah, so there's no overlap. So it's a pretty good coin toss on like which one of the 5 are going to have the Azumarill and who's going to have the Hypno and who's
Got
going to
it.
have the
Oh
Altaria.
wow. So okay, now I see why you're so confident that I wouldn't get it because
Yes.
the other 3 people may have the
So
okay.
Exactly.
what we did was Jiggly Dad has all the meta stuff, and the rest of us got the scraps.
Jiggly Dad has the Toxicroak, the Hypno,
He's
the
back now, so now I have to stop saying.
Probably. Probably. I don't even
Yeah, he got
remember.
like a
But-
Venusaur. I think he got a
Oh, we're gonna say this.
Azumarill.
We're exposing him right now.
I mean,
Oh, man.
it's we're not talking about movesets, but
Are they tearing
Exposing
me
you.
apart because they made me play with a meta team for
made you.
undisclosed reasons?
It made you. I was trying to get
We
Bastiodon
did.
on this team for a little bit.
Yeah, I
Oh,
drew the line
man,
at
yeah.
Bastiodon. I would not run Bastiodon no matter how much they pushed me, but I allowed them to let me run mostly meta stuff. So
You've got such a good team, though. It's super solid.
it's
My
super
team's
solid.
not.
So if I succeed, it's because my team was good. If I fail, it's because I I drove the truck off the bridge.
I love the reasonings why. I'm excited. I want to see your team now. I want to see these teams. I mean, of
You want
course,
to?
you can show me.
I mean,
Yeah,
I could DM you it. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll just do that. But yeah, I don't think you could guess it. It's like really out
I
there.
mean, I can guess.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure
Or
I
like
can get
one.
two Pokemon on there.
Okay, okay, do try to get one more.
Okay, okay. Let me see. So, what do you look like you would play?
That's very hard to guess, actually.
Okay, so you said all the meta stuff that Jiggly Dad has, and so okay, let me think about this. Do you have a Hunter?
No,
Close though.
but yeah, kind of.
Okay, so the Gengar. Then I mean,
Mm-mm.
okay, no, I don't know. Never
Yeah,
mind. I could go down the list and go on and on. There's so many Pokemon, but it just seems like you have to have one of those staples. Otherwise, your team is going to be hard to play.
it's very hard to play. I will say that. I don't even know how I'm gonna do it.
But the thing is, it's hard to counter too.
Yeah, it's hard to counter. I kind of built it in a way that's very hard to like look at and like be like, oh, for sure I'm bringing this, because then I'll be like, wait a second, they have this. Okay, I
Yeah.
can't bring that. So
So
it's
out of the
like,
six, do
yeah.
you have a three that you know you're always going to pretty much bring, or do you?
Don't
That's
say
the
it.
good part about. Oh yeah, I can't answer that. That's the good part about this team.
Oh, okay.
But
Answer it in the chat.
I can't say that. Yeah, I delete mods there, and yeah. Also,
That's
other
so
people.
fun, guys. I may participate in one of these in the future.
Here, I'll
The
DM you.
thing is, our community is not on Discord. Our community is mostly on Slack. So
Right.
we do have a Discord, but most people don't use it because our community was built on Slack.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there are four other players that would probably be willing to go on Discord so that we could be part of this in the future.
Are you going to
Highly
answer?
recommend. It's so fun.
Chat,
Yeah, I'm going to tell them.
Chat's really burning to know the answer to the question of what the thing is you're running that's so similar to Haunter. They're all asking, and I think you need to at least come out and tell them the answer so they don't walk away disappointed.
Oh,
wait.
is it like Burnett or like
No.
or okay? Well then,
No. Okay. I guess I will expose one of the mods. I DM'd you my team though. Lud did on Twitter,
okay.
but it's Driftblim.
That's not
Driftblim.
like Hunter.
I mean, it's a ghost. I mean, it's not squishy,
It's
but
a bulky one. It's not.
It's
not
not
the
a
glass.
You're
ghost.
playing Dribble is in Great League. I've never played them or seen them in Great
Oh,
League.
it's so fun. If you
It's
hadn't
fun.
snatched Drifblim up, I probably would have. But I wouldn't have said that because you would have been like, take it. And I wouldn't have wanted to take it from you.
I'm just saying I had a number one ranked Driftblim that I've played in I think every team tournament I've played in, and he took it from me. So you would have stayed
Okay,
in
so
line.
let me tell you.
I'm sorry. I didn't know
Don't
that.
be. None of us would have said this because we all know that you would have given it up and nobody wants to take it from you.
That's right.
Okay, I'm gonna say two things really quick. First of all, Jiggly Dad, it seems like you've been sipping on that drink for like the whole show, and it's still in that same spot.
That's right. Why do you think I have to take a break and nobody else has? It's because I drink Mio all stream.
I mean,
okay.
That's
Yeah,
Mio.
my bottle is empty though. So
Mio, it's what you drink when you stream. I've been pitching for a long time to get them to sponsor me, but they don't sponsor streamers or just about anything from what I can tell. But
yet
exactly. If you have any connections that can help me get sponsored by Mio.
I used to enjoy Mio, the energy one, the green or the purple.
Right. Nice.
Oh, so you are drinking it. It just looks like
it's Mio. Yeah.
It just looks like it's staying in the same place because I keep pouring more and more.
Do you have like a pitcher?
He conveniently pours it like when he runs out. And then
I go through about 2 gallons in a show, something like
wow, that. Wow, you're so hydrated. That's great.
Nobody can ever.
The second thing I wanted to say about your team is two of these Pokemon are like my favorite Pokemon to play.
Okay.
And one of them I can play in every single league and just is amazing. And then the other one, I had so much fun this season playing.
Yeah, I think I can pick out those ones. But yeah, Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So cool. That's good.
Yeah, it is. It's a really interesting team. I think it's like hard to work around too, which I love that. I love giving my opponents trouble when they're thinking about bringing things. They're like they sit there for a second, they're like, "Wait a second." And I'm like, "Yes, I got them."
That's
And then they
why we
beat
put
me.
you in the tiebreaker spot.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hoping I can actually do some good though because
It'll
maybe
never come to that though, so don't sweat it.
okay, that's good.
There is
Okay.
one Pokemon that stands out to me that if you face it you're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Yeah,
could do some
actually,
off-stream coaching for him.
yeah, you could, to be honest.
Are you talking
Uh,
about the very bottom one?
No. I mean, there is a
Against
Pokemon
him.
outside of
Oh,
that
against
group.
his team. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
Gotcha.
would give you some problems. I mean, obviously you could beat it, but like if you face it, you're gonna have to really figure out like how I'm gonna beat this Pokemon.
Hmm.
yeah, I think I have that in mind, maybe, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that was kind of like all of us when we were team building. We were kind of all just like, well, what are the odds I get matched up with the one person running this thing that would give my team some issues?
Yeah.
Yeah. There is one like that for my team, and I counted after I made the bracket live how many people in slot 3 had that Pokemon, and it was like a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Uh-oh. Did
yeah.
you? I hope you chose correctly, but
Oh,
that's
I
what
don't know
got
if I
you.
did. I don't know if I did. I went with Wigglytuff because that made my team more well-rounded rather than the other thing I was thinking about.
I
Somebody
think you
Uh,
somebody needs to
maybe.
represent Wigglytuff on the Jiggly team. So I mean, if you weren't going to do it, I would have had to do it. So yeah.
well, I'll take one for the team.
So did you
Dang.
talk in my absence about everything that needs to be talked about on Battle of the Servers, or did it get
Well,
too wild?
there's not a ton to talk about yet because we are still right in the middle of round 1 and nobody's really wrapped up their round yet.
Right.
So I can't, and no one gets kicked out this round either because it's double elimination, so nobody goes home on round 1. We'll see the first ejections in round 2, and I'll make a Twitter post thanking, yes, kick them out.
Sounds so.
And then we ban them from the server. Not really,
Oh
because we want
dear.
them to come back for bots 4 if that should ever happen. But yeah, nothing yet. Our reigning champions, Raid 44, they've only done 1 set out of their 5 yet, and it was Ramberto's, and he lost his set 2-3. So we'll see how they do. I really doubt they'll take a round 1 loss, but it would be shocking if they did.
Oh, if they do, then you will have cursed them.
Well, you know, it's funny because our season 1 champions got kicked out in the very first ejection round in round 2 last go. They were really unlucky. They got paired up with, I think, with the Elite 4.5, Elite 5, whatever they were calling themselves. I think it was just called Go Stadium in bots 2, and it was kind of like, wow, way to have a finals in round 1. So that kind of sucked the way it worked out.
Is there a team this time? I know that Panic has his own team. So is there a team that's the equivalent of the Elite 4.5 this time?
No, Panic does have his team, but I think the equivalent of the Elite 4 would probably be Raid 44. Just Maze's team is just such solid battlers. I know Lamone Lime is in the chat, and he's so good. Like, they're all so good. So I would be stunned if they went home in round 2. I really don't think that's going to happen. They're all so talented. They're such a force. And they're our reigning champions. So I hope they stick around and make it to the finals again. That'd be really cool to see them defending that title again.
As of now, it looks to me for the Go Stadium tournament that they are on. Is this a round of 64? Something like that. They must have had large numbers. So I think all of the truly high seeds, which this time were done by prior performance in these tournaments, so anybody who'd done it before was kind of helped out by that. I don't think any of them have actually completed their battles, or it hasn't been processed, so there aren't really anything in the way of upsets or even results that I could make much interest about, I don't think, in these rounds. Was there anything you were aware of, Ethan, or anybody in terms of teams that went out that you would have been surprised by?
Nothing so far. I I think well, I haven't really looked at anything
I guess
except my own opponent.
I don't know who these PvP Jalisco Verde and Thunderdome are. Thunderdome was a quote 51 seed and they beat a 14 seed, which seems to be the most lopsided result that I see. But as a general rule, these team names are very difficult to decipher who's on them without digging a little bit deeper. I'm not familiar with either team.
I think I'm in the Thunderdome server. I did like a random Toxic Cup there and just never left.
All right, so that is the team stuff. If you are not involved this time, definitely get involved next time. I know Alyssa was saying that the numbers were down this time, and I think it probably has a lot more to do with kind of where the community's at right now in terms of activity level and Sylph season being over, and maybe just how aware people were that it was happening, that we have fewer. But I would love to see this continue to grow into the future and have all sorts of goodness. Do you know, are you going to, I assume there'll be some sort of stream of the finals like last time?
So I haven't reached out about it yet to our wonderful production team who did it last time, but I do plan on it. We were kind of waiting to see how many participants we'd have, so we'd have a projected date of when the last round would be. Right. Couldn't really figure that out until we had like a rough number of how many people were participating. I would love to do that again if the team was willing to do it again, because they were so great last time, and was definitely above and beyond my expectations. Everybody that helped was just like so amazing, and it went so smoothly, and I was like sitting there like sobbing watching it, and completely sober, by the way. There was no wine involved. Like I was just like so proud and so humbled by everybody who came out to watch that. And then King rated it, and I cried more, and it was just like a whole thing. So I would love for that to happen again. That was so cool.
It's probably worth noting that since the last time we were here, the Sylph season has officially concluded. That's brought to mind by Mel's tweet today, but also just by the fact that we are now, at least in my time zone, September 7th. So a week ago, we had at least some results to come in. And the speculation that we were engaged in regarding how many legends we would have at the end of the season in Sylph is concluded. And it looks like the ones who came up just short, where you can't even see the light of day between their elite status and legend status, are Dunebug, House Stark, and Escambrara. So they did fall a bit short, but I'm guessing that that's only a matter of time before that happens.
Oh, I like House Stark.
Oh yeah, we all love House Stark, and I mean, want all those people to achieve their goals, but I suppose that legend status is meant to be, as you say, it's elite tier. So if you want to earn it, then maybe it would cheapen it if there were too many in season one. We ended up with 6. Just repeating off the names that we probably are all familiar with now: Angelino 511, who's been on the show, Ventusky, who's been on the show, CCO, who we intend to get on soon. Marto, have not had him on, but I think most people are aware of Marto. Toe, who I interviewed in the deep dark of night here. It was 1 a.m. when we started that interview, and we were only able to get an hour in. If you missed that, it was not an independent stream. It was just me. We were streaming the team building, and then we went straight into the Toe interview. So I did clip that as a highlight, and I posted it on YouTube unedited. If you are interested in watching that, I'm not going to say it's my finest work, because it was very rushed in terms of me trying to get an interview done in an hour, and it wasn't probably my usual relaxed pace, but I definitely had fun with Toe, and he is just a great dude. And Vanny as well, who we have not had on. Vanny from Spain. I'm not sure how I don't know. I would assume that there's a language barrier there, but I have not actually seen Vanny. I don't know that I know what Vanny looks like or how he presents, so don't know. We'll definitely look at getting all of those folks on at some point if they've not been on already. But, puts a wrap on the Sylph season, which I think by any measure was a great success given the circumstances that we were all under. I think that as much as we all would have liked it to be in-person tournaments, we all would have liked things to have gone a little differently. I want to just thank the Sylph staff and all volunteers. Remind you all that that they've helped put on this great season for us, and all the folks that help put on tournaments across the country and across the world, excuse me, and just looking forward to the next season. But just putting that little landmark out there. Anybody else have any closing thoughts on their Sylph season or anything they're going to take away from this year?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm just so thrilled with how this season went. It was a good season for me, and Sylph kept things super exciting. The metas were fun. They were always, for the most part, pretty balanced. And I just thought the meta team did a fantastic job. Mel, who is always in our chat, did a fantastic job. The whole team itself did such a great job. Like, people give them crap for stuff every now and again, but like at the end of the day, they are volunteering so many hours, like countless hours. I can't even imagine how much time they're spending on this to give us something enjoyable for us all to do, our favorite hobby, for free. They're not getting paid for this. And I'm super grateful for everything that they do, even if it's ridiculously stressful at times. They're still doing it for us, and I just really appreciate that.
I'm gonna do my best to try not to get distracted by Twitter here, because I see people randomly
That
tweeting, and
yeah.
I
saw
honestly,
that too.
I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna try just to not digest it until after the fact. I do look for all perspectives after we are done. If we did something wrong, please hold me to account. And if you have a perspective that is not represented, please bring yourself forward and spend some time with us, and we will be more than glad to talk to you. But I'm going to not engage in Twitter right now. That's not what we're here for. All right. So that being said, let's get into just the basic stuff that we have seen in PoGo and PvP this week. Even though not directly relevant to PvP at this point, we did see Niantic kind of continuing in their trend of trying to be more responsive to the community. I'm not going to say that they're giving us a whole lot of information, but I guess that we have some concrete things to work with on the mega system that was complained of, that goes back to some of the things we said about being pay to win, or just paywall, not appealing. How did you feel, London, about the changes that they made to Mega Evolution? Did you feel that they were needed? Did you feel that they were adequate? And did they personally impact the way you and your kind of raid community went about pursuing or not pursuing them?
Yeah, honestly, Megas was a big disappointment. Mega evolutions were a big disappointment for me. I, was a little disappointed that you could only have 1,000 energy in your bag. I was disappointed that you couldn't use them in battle with NGBL. It was a lot of disappointment regarding it. But I do appreciate Niantic having a responsive approach. I do want to caution them, though, that it seems to me that I got to think about how I say this. I don't want them to always change the things that they do just because people complain. Because some parts of the game, I think are good. It's just that people with a loud voice are the ones that are speaking. And so it seems that every week they're making a change or kind of backpedaling, going backwards. And it kind of just shows that like the community is really pressuring them. And sometimes I don't think that's the best approach. So I do like the changes that they made for the ELO system. And I know that's not your question, but and Megas as well. But I just want to just caution them to kind of stand their ground a little bit on some of the decisions that they made.
I think that I definitely think that in some cases that is true. I think that the opinion that I've expressed in the recent past has been that I feel like Niantic is kind of doing this cynically, like they're intentionally putting something out there that they know the community will reject, and then they're accepting that criticism, kind of expecting that whatever they do in response is going to be received graciously, and that it's kind of done in kind of a back and forth way where they're like, well, they want us to listen, let's give them something for them to complain about, and then we'll listen to them and put out the system that we were thinking of. But I do acknowledge that it's definitely important for a company, especially a very forward-looking game company like Niantic, to have a vision in mind for what they want the game to be and for how they want it to be. And one of the areas that I think I probably would receive a lot of disagreement with from the PvP community at large is that I think that they do need to do something to force the walking back into this game, to force the activity back into this game, because as somebody who gravitates to this game as something that actually can be like a positive force in your life as opposed to just a game you sit down in front of a screen and play, I think that a lot of that character has been lost. And I think that if they allowed the community's pressure to not make that a core part of the game going forward after the quarantine issues have either subsided or passed, then I think that they will be doing themselves a disservice in the long term, because they will be making more money, but they will not be furthering the core vision that they put out at the onset and throughout. So that's kind of an area where I think that if they really give in to community pressure, which I think would be almost universally in the opposite direction, I think that they will be making a big mistake. But I do think that, especially as a licensee, as a kind of a protector of the Pokemon brand that doesn't own the Pokemon brand, but they have like a monopoly over it in this one particular sphere, I think they have a responsibility to kind of the Pokemon community as large to be more responsive and not just offer us, take it or leave it, because ultimately there's no such thing as, go play a different Pokemon game. Well, we can't go play a different Pokemon game unless you're talking about a completely different platform or situation. Like, this is it. This is the mobile on the go platform that we have. And if you choose to make it this, then it's going to have repercussions. So, I mean, I think it's definitely a nuanced thing. Once again, everything nuance is the word of the day. I think that Jiggly's probably dropped that like 6 times today, but yeah,
it's a good word.
I appreciate that perspective that is also probably not often stated, that Niantic needs to not solely look at community pressure when they are designing features of the game. I mean, in so many instances, when you think about it, there are aspects to the game that might appear completely counterintuitive, but as they develop throughout the game, they make more sense, because you can tell that they have taken more of a long-term, holistic approach. And it's when they stray from that and try to do something like knee-jerk, like change the ELO system on a dime in the middle of a season, that I think that you start to see problems like tanking, like things like that, where if they would take a more measured off-season approach and focus a little bit less on the money-making aspect of always having a GBL season going and kind of regrouping between seasons, I think that they could come out with a better product that both they and the community would prefer. And I feel like I've been speaking a lot, maybe pushing Scientist and Alyssa out of the conversation. I don't know if they have anything on this front. How do you feel about the changes made to Mega Evolution? I know you fairly strongly agreed that it was a cash grab, even as someone who is more than willing to put their money out there, Alyssa. So how responsive do you feel the changes have been to what the community has asked for?
So I super appreciate the 3 free remote battle passes that we're getting. I think that's a good step forward. I don't super love all of the in-game tasks we need to do, like the complete however many battles or whatever, because you can't achieve those without doing like raid battles, and not everyone can afford to shell out for those. But my stance on this is usually that this is my hobby, and everybody has a hobby that you usually put some money into, and I'm okay putting some money into this hobby because I'm not putting it into other hobbies. Like, this is my thing. But I also understand that not everybody can afford to delegate money for that kind of thing. So I don't super love how long it will take you to get all of the mega energy to evolve your Pokemon for a set amount of time. I guess I wish maybe that the mega evolution would last a little bit longer, or that it would be easier to acquire the energy for it. I think I'm going to save my judgment until we see what happens. I know they said that they were going to work on earning mega energy by walking or by other means. Those aren't out yet, but I'm waiting to see what those are. And I'm hoping that those are good, feasible ways to earn that, and that it's not just completely locked behind a paywall. So I'm going to refrain from having a strong opinion until I see what kind of positive changes Niantic is making. I do think they're being super receptive. Maybe almost like London said, a little bit too receptive. I've noticed that whenever anything kind of sets on fire on Twitter, they've been pretty quick to act, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, I think it's important for us to remember that Niantic is a business, and at the end of the day, they're going to probably continue to do what's in the best interest of their wallets. And I think that's okay. Like, if you play Magic the Gathering, you're giving them how much of your money for trading cards? Like, so much.
I definitely I want to piggyback off that. I think they're definitely being pretty receptive for what they can do in this time period. Like, we've seen it even, like, if you look at, I know people might not be super into GBL maybe in chat, but like, if you look at the patterns we've had this season, like, we started barely getting anything for like our games. And then we had like a slight multiplier in like the middle, where like we would get a slight increase in points. And then like people were still complaining, and people were still saying, oh, not enough people are going to hit rank 10, not enough people are going to do this. And then they just turned it up to 11, and now we have the system we have. So like they just blasted it, and they were like, let's just hope they don't say anything. Let's see if they have anything to complain about now. And sure enough, I think most of us we're staying quiet because the whole game has changed. So it's like, yeah. So I think I think they're being receptive, but in my opinion, I feel like they could be a little bit more receptive in terms of megas. I feel like the raid thing will always sort of be a problem for megas, because what if we can't go raiding in this, like, we can't do a mega raid for a day or something. Like, there's a more interesting raid out there, and we do that raid instead of doing a mega raid, and we already signed up for a tournament using a mega, but we can't because we don't have I don't know, I'm just trying to like really think about like the worst case scenario. But like, I feel like not having enough energy or whatnot, like, I feel like you should pay a flat out price, right? It's like buying anything, right? Like, pay flat out for it, and then you have it unlocked. It shouldn't be like a you keep paying for it and it's like a subscription, because that's what megas are basically. They're like a subscription. You're subscribing to rating and then getting the energy to evolve. Like, once you're done doing the mega raids, you can't have mega energy unless you do these tasks or whatever. Now they've introduced these tasks, but we don't know how much we're going to get from those. So hopefully, what Alyssa's saying, hopefully we get a little bit more from those. like 30 or 40. If we actually get like a decent amount from the tasks, then I probably wouldn't have an issue. We just obviously don't know anything from like tasks or walking yet, so we'll just have to see. But I hope that that'll be like the alternative and we won't have to stuck be stuck behind this subscription based paywall where it's like you have to raid in order to do it, or you get some 5 energy tasks that you can barely find anywhere. Maybe if they up that, like if you could actually find those tasks, that would be good. Because really, in
Or
reality, wait, what?
go ahead.
Oh, in reality, like what are the tasks like right now? They're like I just remembered like the old task, like Diglett was in a task. Like, does anyone want a Diglett from a task? Like, I don't know if actually anyone that wants a Diglett from a task, like catching wise. So like, or like do the berry task where you have to trade in 5 and you get 3 or something. I don't know. Those are like I feel like they're just not rewarding rather than having a task that's like mega energy and it's actually useful. So it's like I feel like we could trade in some tasks as well too. So
And one thing I
continue.
would say is that, if it is going to be behind a paywall, then we could at least get a much better deal on the raid passes themselves,
Yeah.
the remote raid passes. That's one thing they haven't budged on is
Mm-hmm.
they gave us 3 remote raid passes, maybe like once a even if they gave us once a week, that's not enough. I don't think so. For like what you want to be able to do in the game. And to be quite honest, sometimes I forget like how a free to play player or someone who spends very little, like how much they can't do. For
Exactly.
instance, I did a special trade yesterday and I gave one of my friends a lucky 98% shiny Groudon. But he can't power it up because he doesn't have enough candy. And that just is mind blowing to me because I literally put rare candy into Pidgey. That's how many I have, like to the point where I just like
Oh my.
I'm just
I
putting them like literally I delete like five. I don't delete them. I just dump them 500 every other day into like something random because I have too much of it. But we have a player here who they don't have enough to add a second move. So I get that. It's just and so with that being said, like it would be great if they come up with a way to like give us more raid passes because I don't mind spending my money on the game, but this is a lot of money that you have to blow through just to be able to raid with these remote passes. So Niantic, if you're listening, we need more raid passes.
For sure.
Yeah, also another thing I want to interject, like if they, because they have a trading system, we have a trading system now. So like if they had a trading system for items, do you know how much that would save like people deleting things? Like imagine someone like not having a raid pass, right? And then the guy next to him has like 500 and he's like, "Oh, I was just about to delete like 200." Um just because like I don't have bag space. And then the poor guy is just sitting there like, I literally can't do a raid. Can someone give me a raid back?
I don't think
Like
they would
poor
ever do that because they would
yeah,
lose money.
they would. That's the thing. So they are a company and I don't know a way for them to get around that. That's just the hard fact of it is that they would probably lose some money. But it's just they make so much already. I'm pretty sure if we had a system like that, they're still making money. Like I don't know. I guess they would lose a lot, but
But like Alyssa said, they're a business and they want to be listed up there for like revenue. Like at the end of the day, that's
yeah,
really what we
nice.
have to remember. Like even though we get so much from this game and we see it as just that, it's a really like a fortified business. Like
It
they are
definitely is.
they are competing with these huge names for amount of revenue that they bring in, and they're not gonna stop that just because people want more items.
Yeah, no, it's like they definitely cater to the people that play, like that are willing to pay and play more, obviously. So that kind of just sucks, but that's how it is, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So uh like that's how businesses work. So it's just like how do you there's got to be like I mean, I know that every business has a team that tries to figure these issues out, but there's got to be a way to like in the future to get finally like have like a voice for the more rural players or like the people that aren't able to pitch in as much. I just don't know what that would be. And I think they're struggling with that too. So it's like, mm, mm, it's tough. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah,
Uh,
it is difficult. I think that the main thing I like to say is that I understand Niantic's a business and I understand that PR is important to any business, but Niantic likes to put themselves out there as a particular kind of business. They like to put themselves out there as being incredibly
mhm.
ethical and having certain values and just generating a lot of good PR off that. And I just think that there needs to be kind of a give and take with that. Like I think that it's fine to put yourself out there and say that, but I think that the more you put on yourself in terms of generating publicity and goodwill through PR, the more you have to hold yourself to the standard that you have set for yourself. And so I think that it's fair to say that when they one of the things that I've said in the past was that I feel like the donation that they made to Black Lives Matter is now being funded by them being money grubbing. And so I feel like you can't have it both ways. You can't say we're so generous that we gave to this good cause and we're going to make you pay for it. Like I think you need to either be generous and have those values, or you need to find other ways to just make up that revenue. And it's the same thing. I believe it was this week, and I didn't throw it in the outline, but Niantic released something saying that they were going to have a certain they were going to give a week off to Niantic employees, and that's great. That's fantastic. That's promoting a positive corporate value. But when I read that, I see we're going to do this. We're telling you that we're doing this because we want you guys to view us in a certain way, and we want you to understand that nothing's going to get fixed this week, or if the game's not good this week, don't give us grief. Like it's just kind of they want everything both ways. So I'm
Why do you
fine.
see it that way? I don't see it that way. Why when you read that message did you read it that way?
I think
Or why
that
did you read it that way?
I in the context of the fact that I believe ever since the pandemic occurred and they started making changes to the game, which were designed to make it more pandemic friendly, I believe that they have not coincidentally in the sense that it's not related, but coincidentally in time, started trying to monetize people more than they previously had. They're trying to monetize them by having them buy GoFest tickets and then not giving them incense for the entire event when some of the spawns are incense locked, and not telling them that ahead of time. They're monetizing them by doing the remote raids in such a way that it encourages people to buy a new item that never existed before, when some people have back stores of regular raid passes that they can't use because they're trying to honor quarantine. I just see a very marked correlation between the pandemic, the donation they made to Black Lives Matter, and the just their recent increase in trying to pull revenue in, that it feels like they are not making it a situation where they're saying we're a good company, we're going to take a hit on profits by giving this donation. They're saying we are a good company, we expect you to foot the bill for this thing that we want you to give us credit for. And I see it as a trend, and I see that a lot of people in the community are currently spending significantly more than they used to, and I find it to be exploitive and predatory in the sense that a lot of us are kind of stuck at home. We love this game, we love this community, and they're like monetizing the relationships and friendships that we have by saying, pay extra money to buy these remote raid passes. Never mind the fact that they're buggy, and never mind the fact that you can only buy them 3 at a time, and you only get like a certain amount of time to respond to them. It's a very, I view it as a very devious psychological system that they currently have in place. And I'm usually somebody who does give Niantic a lot of credit. I mean, I do think that that's the general bent that I have, but I think that has been my overall perspective recently. And I mean, I do recognize other perspectives, and I know that it is somewhat jaded, but I think that I don't know, I feel justified in my perspective at the moment.
Okay, yeah.
I think what we're lacking a lot of, I think what Niantic definitely needs to work on, I think everyone here can agree on this, is transparency. Like transparency. They are not transparent at all. I don't think. Like some things they're pretty good. Like they're good with. They've been recently good with like I don't know what you and Jiggly just mentioned, right? The whole like we're gonna take a week off type thing. But even they could have explained a little bit more. They could have gone deeper into it. I feel, but like I don't know. They make all these changes to GBL and to I don't know, to like having bugs in the game. They don't communicate with us as a community. They let us figure it out and then we tell them and then they figure it out and then they fix it. And like they have a bugs page, I guess. Like they have things on their website, right? Like on Pokemon Go Live where it's like their report page or whatever that they're aware of some issues, but it's like I don't know. They could like. I feel like the general like Pokemon Go player base isn't going to the bug page. They're going to Twitter and like they're going to the in-game news and stuff like that. And if they actually publicize those mistakes, it would honestly do them a lot of good, I feel. Because then the community would be like, okay, they're struggling. Like the game, isn't like it used to be, and people are at their house trying to fix this game, and it's very challenging, and I honor that. But instead, we have a lot of angry people that are just like, you know, grabbing their pitchforks and fire, and they're running over to Niantic HQ. Like that's not what they intended. But it would help if they were a lot more transparent and forthcoming with their community, because I feel like we definitely put a lot of time into this, more so than I'm assuming most of the Pokemon Go like workforce, and like I don't I don't know. I feel like as a community that's um this I don't know, just what we are as a community. I feel like we not deserve, but like we kind of would appreciate. That's a good word. We would appreciate it if Niantic was definitely on terms with us in terms of what's going on. So
I mean, Warshall wants you to go back and use the deserve word. I'm gonna say we should expect.
okay.
Deserve is not the word I would use, because we don't deserve
Yeah,
anything.
we don't deserve anything.
Maybe
Yeah.
we deserve for the company that is the custodian of the Pokemon brand in this venue to treat it in a certain way. But more than anything, I just think we should expect a certain thing, and that should be kind of the way that we are driven. But the problem is that a large percentage of the spending group is not going to look at this stuff. And the one thing that I left out of the puzzle that I view as a critical part of their accelerating in revenue is that when they got rid of the walking requirement for GBLs, and they've had so many bugs in GBL, and the way that they have handled monetizing GBL versus the amount of resources that they're willing to put into tech support and actually compensating people, like the system that they have, whether you succeed or fail in it, it breaks on a way too regular basis for them to have been accepting as much money as they have for it from the start, in my view. And so I think that in and of itself should be dealt with in a different way. I think that they should be more accountable to the player base in terms of, you spent this amount of money. We're not going to make it incumbent on you to submit a tech support request every time you experience game-breaking lag to get your dollar back. I mean, if you'd used a pass, like, it breaks your set completely to completely lose a game that you should have won. So when that's the case, I just feel both the experience and the value given needs to be fair in that way.
Yeah, I think Oyster 100% also, like, that's what I was kind of alluding to. The whole like change to the whole point system, they could have written something this whole
Absolutely.
time. They could have said like, we're gonna change the way we calculate things. And then they could have made another post and said, we heard your feedback again, trainers. We're gonna change things drastically. I don't know, but they didn't say any of that. Instead, they just flipped switches continuously and hoped that we shut up. Like,
If you're really lucky, trainer, you may get a shiny boost, and you may get a 150 point boost in your elo if you're really lucky, like in their Niantic terms.
if you're really lucky, you'll have a community that's still supportive after you do all these things.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the loot box conversations recently as well, and
man.
I think that is also part of the equation, that they really, if they want to get away with eggs as not being treated as loot boxes, then they need to accept the fact that means monetizing less. I mean, loot boxes have a certain connotation.
Yeah.
And if it's pay for items, pay for that kind of thing, then they should be held to account on that as well, from both a Play Store / iTunes Store perspective or a legal perspective.
As someone, before anyone starts, I'm sorry, I'm really talkative right now. This is a subject. As someone that plays games, right? I'm sure maybe you guys can relate and chat. Loot box games. I have never seen a loot box game that has ever been successful in the end. I feel like loot box games have this connotation. They're just like, EA. Okay, I don't want to put any companies on blast, but I just did. EA is totally guilty of this.
Absolutely.
Their games are like super loot boxy. Like, it's just not like it. That's what killed like Battlefront for me, because I loved Battlefront, but like, it's just, and then like, oh my, it's so ridiculous. Like, I, I just can't get behind it. So
Right.
loot boxing is just not a good strategy for games. I feel like if you're gonna have a system where you pay money to play a game, it should be for cosmetics, and maybe that's it. Like, not even like, that's why Fortnite, it was so successful. I know Jiggly hates talking about it, but the only way they like really made profit was because of cosmetics, and
Right.
that's something that totally has nothing to do with the game.
No,
So
I think it's a very, very fair point, despite the fact that I hate Fortnite.
yes,
I don't fault the business model of,
yes,
we're giving you a cosmetic, we're telling you up front it doesn't help you in the game. You chose to make that purchase based on just the fun that you get out of wearing this outfit or using this skin. And
yeah,
I think that that's perfectly fine. I don't necessarily think it would translate perfectly to Pokemon Go. But
no,
I think one of the things I like to pride myself on here is that, just like the topic we're talking about tonight, I'm not afraid to talk about pretty much anything in the end. And one of the things that I am overt about is that I feel like I have an addictive personality. And so I've been addicted to games over time, and I made the choice. Look, I'm going to play this game because this game is different, and I can leverage that addiction into a better life, a life that involves more moving and seeing more people, interacting with people, and doing that, as opposed to something else. And I think that anytime a company engages in loot box mechanic, they're inherently saying that they are okay with leveraging people's addiction in a way that I think should never, ever, ever be encouraged, period. Like,
it,
end of sentence. And it's like, I
it's
think that we
yeah.
should stamp it out as a society globally that this is the way that gaming and culture should go. It's okay to have a hobby. It is not okay for companies to be predatory and get your money for what is essentially no return, any different than it is in like a casino or anything like that,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah.
completely different thing.
It's like they're almost trying to force feed like addictive tendencies to like lottery and like
Absolutely.
like other things like gambling and stuff like that. Those
100%.
characteristics are not acceptable in society, I feel.
I mean, the
But like
characteristics may be inherent to somebody, but to use them in a predatory way
to
where you're
use them
taking
in a
where
predatory way,
you're
yeah.
taking somebody's money, you're extolling your own virtues as a company, and you're basically leveraging someone's addiction to pay for it. It's kind of like
And
the
yeah.
leveraging lottery sales to fund education when you're taking money from impoverished communities to give money to schools that aren't serving those communities as well. It's reprehensible, and I just want to call a spade on that. I just think that's it's hard to argue, honestly. I think, and nobody wants to argue it because nobody wants to have this conversation. Because I'm one of
Yeah.
the few people who wants to come out and say that I'm addicted to this game, but
I'm addicted
that's just what it
as well.
is.
Yeah, I think um what I'm also not okay with is that there are a lot of children that play this game. So it's like goes back to what I talked to. Like, if we're gonna instill values into our kids, this is not a value that I would want to instill. Like, I would never want my family member to be addicted, especially to a gambling system like this.
Right.
And like that just feeds into other bad addictions. Like I just don't want that to ever be a thing. And it's hard to realize this because it's a Pokemon game.
Right.
It's friendly. Like, these are creatures. But like, these creatures have deeper implications that can lead to really dangerous um habits, especially for kids. They don't realize, like, commercials, right? Like, commercials have an agenda. This sort of thing, because it's predatory in its own way, has an agenda. So like, and that's what kind of gets under my skin with Niantic. I'm fine with their business model and stuff, and I usually am pretty like I've never blessed them or talked bad about them at all on Twitter or anywhere. Like, I usually am pretty fine with it, but this kind of stuff that's continuously evolving, like GBL becoming like, it's always been blind threes, but like it's just not like working properly and things like that. And then like it's just like literally every part of this game is somewhat a lottery, except for the only thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if YTX is in chat, but this is where he comes out right now and corrects me. But the only thing I've noticed in this game that's actually like that's static, right? Is static the right word, or is it dynamic? Is it static? Static means changing, right?
Static means staying the same.
Yeah,
Dynamic means
good.
changing.
Or yeah, dynamic means changing. Thank you, thank you. So the only thing that's static is the coin system for gyms. Like, that is it. Like, that is defined, and if that becomes a lottery, I would literally lose it. Like, if you were like, you put your Pokemon in and then you're like, oh, today you were unlucky, you got one coin for defending for 8 hours, I would lose it. I would be like, okay, I'm gonna go play the real Pokemon
Right. If
games.
they were to design it from scratch, you could very easily see like your Pokemon just came and they would have a bundle just like your buddies do, and you click it and you get a random bundle, and it could be everything from like, a purple potion to an elite charge TM or something, and then people would just like lose their minds when their Pokemon came back with nothing. But
Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, that was my long rant. Or not really a rant, but like conversation about that sort of thing. Because I really, like, as someone that's into playing games, I've had this conversation with friends and stuff, and it's just sad to see games go that way, and I
right.
really don't want this for a game that I really appreciate and that we appreciate.
Right.
So it's just I just never want this for this game. And if it decides to go that way, I will be very sad. So anyways, you want to
I'm just
put your
glad. Well,
thoughts
I
in
mean,
there?
we've talked about trying to get Ethan to talk more, and I'm glad that we have. Whatever the case may be, I don't want London to get the wrong idea that we're just constantly on like a Niantic conspiracy train. Max
sorry.
is usually here, and he warned me that I would have to fill in for his presence of cynicism and conspiracy theories. Hopefully, I have done adequately in that department. But yeah, that's where I fall. Anybody that wants to.
These are conversations that I hear all the time from our local Slack community. So I may not agree with everything that is being said, but I respect
Right.
everyone's opinion, and this is just how you feel. So you got it out. I'm happy.
Yeah, I got it out for sure. Yeah, that was very nice. Yeah.
All right. So beyond the mega system, we've got the official details on Porygon Community Day. We've got September 20th. Are you excited for Porygon Community Day specifically, or just the same as any other Community Day, London?
No, I am not. I mean, I'm gonna play and I'm gonna play my heart out like I always do, but there are certain Pokemon that I just don't like them to be cheapened. And I feel like if it's not gonna make it substantially better, I don't really see the point of them being there. I mean, obviously, I would say the majority of this community is more excited about a new shiny versus something that's actually useful, especially if they don't battle. So Porygon being a new shiny is something that, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it sounds like my AirPods went out. But I think that Porygon has always been special for me because it took such a long time to find Porygon. He's super rare even to this day. And just to have like 30 Porygon in your bag, it's just gonna that are shiny. It just really it makes me sad, you know? Just like Ghastly. Ghastly was such a good I mean, even though we had already had Gengar, a shiny Gengar, Ghastly itself was just special, right? Magikarp too. Magikarp is probably my favorite shiny because is the OG shiny, is that gold color is beautiful, and now everybody has like 60 in their bag, and it's just like, you know. So to answer your question, I'm not really excited about Porygon. I really hope that future community days are Pokemon that are going to be better use out of them in GBL or in Sylph. Um, and that's my stance.
What would you say in terms of some of the feedback I've heard, which I'm not expecting Niantic to do anything with, but that Porygon 2 would be more useful in PvP, so that it ought to also get Tri-Attack on Community Day. Would you be happy if Niantic took that position, or do you think that would be pandering and not necessary?
Yeah, I think it will be good. At the end of the day, it's a Pokemon, right? Porygon 2 is also a Pokemon, and it sucks that most of the time with Community Day, it's only the third generation or the final evolution, excuse me, that ends up enjoying that Community Day move. But if Porygon Z is in Ultra League tier, like in terms of its CP range, and it would be a good addition to have the move, then it seems like it would make sense to allow that. I mean, doesn't Eevee know Last Resort, or can't Eevee know Last Resort?
The ones that you caught during the right period did.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, normally it's the evolution, right?
Right.
Right.
It actually learned that.
And learn Last Resort. So I don't see why I don't see why Porygon Z couldn't learn that. Not Last Resort, but Tri-Attack.
All right, you heard it here first. London, who says he's normally supportive of all that Niantic does agree it would be great if Porygon 2 got Tri-Attack. So Niantic, if you're listening, please listen to London.
Please.
What about you, Alyssa? What do you think of the Porygon situation and the idea that Porygon 2 should get Tri-Attack as well?
So I do agree with what London was saying about certain Pokemon kind of being cheapened by these community days, like Ghastly, for example, and Magikarp. They were like cool shinies to have, and then they had a community day, and you're like, oh, okay, well now everyone has them, and they're not so special. I'm kind of excited for Porygon because it's a super pretty shiny, and that's nice. I like that it looks like a little cotton candy baby, so that's cool.
I haven't even seen that.
Yeah, oh, it's so pretty.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
nice shiny.
yeah,
It's a good
really
shiny.
fun.
Yeah, look it up for sure.
What I want to know is where is my Vulpix community day? Because I was really looking forward to that. That was kind of like a twofer because we would get like the regular and then the Alolan forms. Like you'd get Kanto and Alolan forms. So it'd be like you get both opportunities for both shinies and they're both PvP relevant. So I was super pumped for that. And it was going to happen. And then all of a sudden it's not going to happen. So I want that back before, anything else. And someone mentioned
Superpowered Dragonite. Superpowered Dragonite as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Vulpix.
Superpowered Dragonite would be so amazing.
Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you, Alyssa. Though all those picks should be released back.
Yeah, what happened to those? Like they were here and then they weren't. So that's annoying. And someone in chat, I don't know who it was. I'd have to scroll back. They mentioned that it's kind of crappy that our votes go through Twitter instead of in game because not everybody that plays is on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
nobody should be on Twitter. I say as
yeah, I don't encourage
spends
that.
way too much time on Twitter. Just like I feel about loot boxes and such. As someone who consumes them, no one should. I don't endorse it. Twitter's terrible.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's a shame because that's where like 90% of this community is. Like it's the battler community as a whole is just so much more present on Twitter than it is, anywhere else.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to be there, but at the same time.
And also people who don't even play the game weigh in on Twitter and it's not even something that directly affects them. It's people who have stopped playing or even people who just like the way it looks. They say, oh, their vote and it counts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just do it.
Our country voting on our election is like that wouldn't make sense, right? It's the same thing here.
Yeah, they just do it. And they're like, "Oh, this looks cool. Okay, I'm just gonna vote."
Yeah.
Yeah, because Pokemon Go is trending. I feel like definitely the in-game polls would be so nice. Like if there was actually an event, right? Like how they have it, like every single time where we have to do the quests, and then that actually meant something, and that the most quests we have done was actually the vote. I don't know. I feel like
where it's a real effort into the decision on what.
Yeah, and not just like, oh, I'm just gonna vote on Twitter.
Actually, they did that.
They did do that, right? For Rhyhorn. They did that, but what happened in the last one?
Rhyhorn, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, they did that with Rhyhorn, but what happened with Ghastly and like the other ones? Was that just through Twitter?
Yeah.
That was okay. Yeah. They should have. I guess it's because that was like pre-COVID, right? Or no? Was it?
No, Ghastly was during.
No. But Rhyhorn was.
Yeah, Rhyhorn was last year. Rhyhorn was in the fall of last year, right? Yeah.
So yeah, that's why they're not doing it. They could at least do something in game. I don't know. They could.
There's a simple voting system in the game where you know that everybody who plays the game enough to be able to see this poll can vote and choose, and that directly impacts them.
Mm-hmm. So right.
I think that's a good point.
That's definitely the way to go. There's the whole COVID thing too, so it's like that impacts voting. So I don't know if we can do it like that, but maybe like actually maybe making the tasks more manageable now, like catching one Pokemon or two Pokemon or something. So that way it's like, but then that leads to more voting. But I guess that's a good thing. I don't know.
It could be honestly. Like your starter, right? You had a chance to catch which starter you wanted to start with, right? And you chose one. So we can have all three Pokemon on the map that will be eligible in the voting, and you just catch the one that you want.
Yeah, okay, I like that because they have game data. So and that's a way of preparing for the community day too, because you're getting candy and resources to then power up if it's actually eligible. Yeah, I like that approach instead of the whole quest thing, because then they can check and see how many of those Pokemon were caught,
Yeah,
and then
you can only catch one, so the other ones will run away as soon as you caught the one that you wanted.
oh, you could do it that way
It could
too.
be
Okay,
tied to
yeah,
your.
yeah,
It could be tied to your daily spawns instead of being one. It could be four.
Yeah,
The four
and then
choices, and you just catch it.
yeah, and then you choose one. I like that a lot, actually. Okay, I like that more.
There you
Yeah,
go, Niantic. A collaborative idea that we've all come up with for you.
we should work there. Well, London should for sure work there, but yeah.
well, they should have some representation from people that really play the game and play the game in all aspects of it. I do think a lot of times they might cater to the people who don't play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, that you can look at that as a positive or a negative. For me, as a person that does play a lot, it kind of gets under my skin sometimes when they make rules or new ways of doing things for people who I feel like that don't play that much. But from their perspective, I get it, right. You know, that's the reason why I don't play that much, because I'm not a high level player and I don't have the time and energy to play that much, but I still want to be able to take advantage of these things. So I can understand both parts, both aspects of that. I did look at the shiny, and shiny Porygon does look quite
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
good one.
but you know what? That's one thing I did want to talk about. Like, we think shinies are something that we deserve, or we have to have, right?
Exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't it be? Because I'm gonna tell you, Go Fest Day 2, I didn't get a single shiny, and I played all eight
Oh yeah,
hours.
I bet. Yeah, that's upsetting. Yeah.
Now, and I caught 1,200 Pokemon
Yeah.
and didn't get a single shiny. So, but it makes me appreciate the ones I got on day 1 so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to say, community day could be great with rewards and like things that really help you play the game better, but we don't have to leave with 20 shinies. We don't really have to leave with that many, because really, do we need that many shinies? At the end of the day,
It
you do.
it
Well, I
just
don't know
takes
about
up
anybody else.
storage.
I start deleting them. I know that
Yeah.
people cringe when I say that, but I delete shinies now.
You
So
have to, yeah.
um,
They just
that's
take up
what,
storage.
yeah.
Yeah. No, everyone has them, so it's like, why trade them? I don't know, unless they're like really good, right?
Unless you want
So
a shadow, which the
yeah,
odds of that is so low.
I think it's
that's
really
so.
exciting when you get a shiny with really good PvP IVs.
Exactly.
And I've been doing that lately where I will rebuild a Pokemon that I already have because I've gotten one that's about as good or maybe even slightly worse or a little bit better because it's shiny.
Yeah.
So that's been fun for me lately, trying to
That's
build like shiny teams.
that's
Listen,
rare.
I play with shinies.
You play with
All
shinies.
all the Pokemon that can be shiny in the game, I play with the shiny version, even if I have a better one. In the I play with shinies all the time.
I just did
Nice.
that with a new Altaria yesterday. I was like, I don't know which one I want to power up. It's either going to be this rank 2 not shiny or a rank 55 shiny. And I went with the
The
shiny.
shiny,
Yep. Every time.
absolutely.
And you know what though? That extra like 2 points of attack, that's going to give me some mirrors right there. It's going to give me the CMP. That's how
PvP
I
may not tell you, but you know it in your heart.
Yeah.
extra shiny type attack bonus. That's what stab really means.
I honestly,
Someone
I
in the
honestly,
chat is saying I
oh
should
yeah,
work for Niantic.
yeah, yeah, you for sure. I honestly think that shinies, like, we put such an emphasis on them in this game, and that's cool and all, but like, I'm sure like we grow up at least knowing some Pokemon stuff, like the Pokemon games. Shinies, oh my gosh, I don't even want to admit, but I spent like 2 days hunting for a shiny in the main series. Like, that's an absurd amount of time. And I feel like we value them way more than we should in this game. And I feel like they should be a lot more. Um, it's not that we value them more than we should, because they should be valued. But the
Yeah,
game inherently makes it so they're easy to obtain or
yeah,
easier. So I feel like they should be a little bit more rare. And I know a lot of people are like gonna be like, whoa, what? And like I just feel like that makes sense, because even in the main series, like not everyone's running shiny. It's ultimately shinies are just different colors. Like that's it. So
Yeah, they don't do
like
anything more.
they don't do anything. So it's like if you have one, they are pretty. They are really, really pretty. But
Mhm.
but
Some
I
of them.
digress. Like
Unless
coming
it's
from the main
Plusle.
series, like knowing how much time I spend like soft resetting, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's like taking your DS, turning it off, turning it back on, taking your DS, turning it off. That for imagine doing that for 2 days. Please don't imagine that.
Yeah, because
The-
for people that don't know, like in the original games, like in today's games, no matter how much you walk away from a shiny and come back, or a Pokemon and come back to it, it will never be shiny if it was never meant to be shiny. But in
yeah,
the games, the old games, you could basically make a Pokemon shiny by the amount of encounters, right? Like you can go back and back and back and
right.
back.
You could just go back and back and back. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know people
there's
who did that. That was too much for me.
that's okay. So that's where I come from with the whole grinding thing in Pokemon. Like I really enjoyed that aspect, and that aspect kind of fed into the catching thing for me. So that's why I'm like super into catching, and like that's like my favorite part of the game too, London. So like I love grinding too. So
Grinding,
like
cheating.
what?
He said,
Nothing. Did I say something? I was just admiring your grinding. I'm just saying that soft resets, even though it's like, it's obviously something people do. It's kind of like glorified cheating at this point. I think it's like basically it's a game exploit that
I
people
mean, it's a
leverage
game
to do
exploit that you
something.
have to do though. So it's like
But
soft
do you?
resetting is
But do you have to?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
because you
I
want
mean
the thing that you want,
because you yeah, that's like the only way
that you
like
think should be rare.
if you're saved in front of a legendary, right? And you soft reset, like I did I actually gave up. I was doing Suicune the last time, like in like middle school or something, and I got to like 3,000 encounters that I just gave up because I knew I would never get it. So like as much it's its own grind, I feel. It's an exploit. We have exploits in the game. So I guess I this goes back to I don't know. This goes back to what is it called? What was that thing called? Um in PvP, early PvP, like this past year or something, where it's patched out. One of the glitches.
QSA.
It's not yeah, QSA. QSA is cheating for sure. Yep. It's like an exploit, right? It's not at
no.
all. It's like I don't know. I think that soft resetting is fine. A lot of the community thinks it's fine. So I'm I'm in the clear. I just want to clear myself there. I'm in the clear. As long as I'm not there are people that actually like that I know of that actually like generate their own Pokemon. And like that's not okay. That's not okay. But I feel like soft resetting is fine because as long as you're not doing that for IVs. I do it for shinies because or I used to because obviously shiny legendaries and if I got one like that's hype. But like I don't know.
Oh.
I
It's all
don't
right.
know.
It's all right. Everybody's entitled to
It's
draw
all
their own
subjective.
lines. Everybody's
Yeah.
entitled to draw their own lines.
Wait,
I
is
just
that
find,
actually cheating though? Like I didn't realize that. Is that actually cheating?
I mean,
I don't
it's
think it's
exactly as you
cheating.
just it's exactly as you describe. It is a widely accepted thing in the community, but
Yeah.
but it's an exploit of the way that the limitations of the original games and the hardware, and so
Yeah.
I think that it is inherently cheating. It just happens to be widely accepted, just like people widely accept um,
Scanners.
phone rockers or
Phone
a
rockers.
lot of
Okay.
different things. I mean, there are different lines everybody draws, but I've always found the soft resetting thing to be amusing, just because it's basically glorified cheating. This coming from someone who's never played main series, but it just
Okay, yeah, so that you don't have that frame of reference.
no, I mean,
Okay.
no, I mean,
I just want to
I understand the
okay.
dynamics of the community. I'm just saying I haven't done it, and I don't think that describing how much effort it is to fulfill the same kind of addictive tendencies we're talking about getting that that adrenaline rush from finally getting the shiny after the 400th try is like, it's not necessarily an argument in its favor, if that makes
Right.
sense.
I see it as for me personally, I don't know anyone else. I see it as that was the only method in the older games to get the shinies. Like there was really no way, like in the newer games they actually came out with like dex navving and stuff, and I did that as well for Zoro, and that's like an actual thing in the game. Like that's not at all cheating. I can say that objectively because they want you to like go through and like get a certain amount of encounters so you can potentially have a chance at getting a shiny. Like that's a part of the game. But the whole soft resetting thing, I can see that was the only way you could get it in like Soul Silver and Heart Gold and like things like that for Suicune or whatever. So like you couldn't go and like I don't know. You could start your game over, I guess, over and over. I guess that wouldn't be cheating, but
In the old days,
I
with the
don't know.
game you're referring to, could you get a shiny by just one encounter? Like, could you click on a
You could.
Pokemon and
You
it'd be
so
okay?
the way it works in Soul Silver, right, is you only get a one-time encounter with any legendary
Hmm.
in Soul Silver. So whatever version you had, I think they were available in all the games, the legendary dogs, but they only come once and you can only catch them once in the game. So that's why I say like soft resetting, it's accepted because like you only get one encounter, and the only way to work around the soft reset is to fully start over. And that takes way too much time rather than soft resetting, which you save in front of it and then re-encounter. Like
Okay.
if you were to fully restart the game, that is like a whole different beast because then you have to get the resources again, go through all the go through all the things, I don't know.
You mean
It's just
it's the difference between Kaiser starting a new account and somebody using scanners to get good mons?
no, 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 no. This is a complete. You can't compare it to Pokemon Go. It's like
I mean,
it would be.
I think you can on some level.
You can. Okay, so it would be like start. It would be like, hmm. Okay, example. It would be like, getting that Eevee quest. You know, the one you get a guaranteed shiny, and like it not being a guaranteed shiny, and then you just get a different account to try it again, and then you get a different account to try it again. I don't know. I think that's what we could compare it to, I guess. But like, I don't know. I think the method to escape the allegation of cheating is very complex and unnecessary. So I think
Oh man.
that soft resetting in its purest form is objectively all right.
I
But
think what we can do, honestly, is we always can justify things that we do to make it okay. Like I can say the same for myself.
fair.
Like I have been accused, like I don't cheat at all, but and so whenever I've mentioned spoofing before, people will say, "Well, London, in order for you to plan your raids, you have to use maps,"
Oh my
and that's
gosh.
considered
Yeah.
cheating. And then also people have said, "Oh, since I use a gotcha, that's cheating as well because it's not the actual original Pokemon Go Plus." So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna always find someone who is purer than you. So
Yeah.
that's why I think at the
Let's
end of the day, we just gotta not talk about what other
dig.
people do to play.
Yeah, let's clear it right here. I am totally fine if anyone thinks like I really don't care. I mean, I care about my self-image, but like if you think that I am a certain way, it's fine. Like I don't have anything against you. I
I
seriously
just
don't.
know how to get a reaction out of you,
But
Ethan. So
like,
I had to give
yeah,
you more grief
you
than
had to do
necessary.
that. I know you had to press that button. I know it was
That's
tempting,
right.
but yeah, I have nothing against that. Like, I know that like there are different viewpoints, and obviously like people play the game in certain ways, but like ultimately people have different opinions, and that'll always come across differently for others. So yeah,
For
uh,
sure.
yeah,
Welcome
I
into
think
the
we
Raiders
delved
from
a
Wally
lot into
Dog.
that.
Thank you for the raid, Wally. Thank you all for coming in. If you get a
Wally,
chance to refresh the stream, I would very much appreciate it. Don't want to get too sidetracked before.
Yo, Taco
What
with the raid too.
Oh man, I'm not. I don't have notifications on anymore, guys.
Oh,
I'm still sitting
Welcome
here with.
in.
Thank you, Taco.
welcome in.
Thank you, man.
We just
Welcome
got
in.
done talking about soft reset.
Yeah, we just hit the ever so
Oh, no.
relevant and timely topic of soft resetting, which has so much to do with the news of the week. But
yeah, tons.
we spent the better part of 2 hours trying to discuss issues of diversity in our Pokemon Go community to the extent that we were able. And I encourage you all to go back and watch that if you are so inclined. Certainly will be in the VODs, and I'm going to make an effort to get this out there as a video as well. But let us press ahead and talk about the GBL Season 4 announcements and the moveset changes, which are admittedly speculative at this point. We don't know exactly what they are going to look like. For somebody who likes their GBL and has succeeded historically in GBL, what do you think about the changes they've announced, London?
So I think that Niantic really does do a really good job with making each season a little bit differently than it has been, and it amazes me how one or two Pokemon's move set changes will impact the entire general meta of the general meta. For instance, with season 3, like we saw a lot more Groudons this season, which makes it literally that was really the only change for Masters, right? Is that Groudon now has access to Fire Punch, but that made a big difference in what Pokemon you saw in the meta. So I think that they do a really good job of trying to keep it fresh. As far as the individual changes that they made in season 4, I haven't really delved into the numbers enough to know like how it's going to impact how I play in my team comp. But I'm glad to see that they are definitely doing what they can to keep it changing so that it's not like just another season of Pokemon GBL.
Yeah. Do you what do you set for yourself as a goal going into these? Do you think that do you expect to reach rank 10 on a regular basis, or are you okay if that only happens some of the time when you put in the effort that you do?
No, I have to reach rank 10 every season. It's like saying like, oh, I know that I'm going to school this year. Do I have to pass to the next grade? Yes, that's gonna be my goal, is to make sure that I always reach rank 10, because I think I'm a good enough battler where I can adjust to the meta, or I can adjust to the different players on field. Um, and that's what I gauge it off of, is whether or not I reach rank 10. And so that's my own personal standard that I measure myself off of, is whether I reach rank 10, because I feel that I'm good. If I hit it and see already rank 10 before, then I really don't feel like I shouldn't hit it again.
Do you which league do you tend to prefer most in GBL format, since you or which one do you think you make the most gains in?
It's so funny that you asked that question, because I always, each one, like I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna do so much better in Masters, or when Great League come, I'm like, oh wow, I like Great League better. But I think that I enjoy Masters the most, because I think that we have all these amazing Pokemon that we've been having for a couple of years now, and we've been able to power them up over the course of these years, and you really get a chance to use them and see them in action in like their highest form in Masters, in my opinion. And so I don't really understand when people say like, oh, it's rock, paper, scissors, or it's the same. I don't get that. I think in the lower metas, it's more like rock, paper, scissors. But a lot of people disagree with that.
I feel like Great League is like rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. Like there's more than just, man, there's so much. And then you'll get like the occasional oddball team that's just like going in with whatever, like a crazy team, and you just have no idea like what to even, you don't have counters for it because it's just like so off the wall. There's just so many options in Great League that you can't really predict. I think that's kind of why I'm really enjoying Ultra League right now, which is like wild because who even am I? Like, like if you had asked me a year ago if I would ever play anything Ultra League, I would be like, hell no. But I am super enjoying it. Ultra League Premier specifically. I've just been having so much fun with Driftblim and Machamp, and they're just super fun to play. And it's so different than what I'm usually used to, like no Azumarill. Azumarill being gone is so fun. So yeah, I don't know. I'm super eager for tomorrow so I can do Ultra League Premier, which sounds so weird in my mouth right now because like months ago, maybe when I started doing this stream with Jiggly, I was firmly Great League and nothing else ever. And now I have zero intentions of touching Great League tomorrow, and I'm ready for Ultra. God, that's so weird.
And maybe that'll be the same for Masters one day. You'll be like, wow, I never thought that I would play Masters. And now here I am investing all this dust in Masters.
Yeah, I'm going to save up some lucky trades and try to build myself a really good Master League team, maybe for next season. But
right now, see you play Masters.
I'm excited too. I don't know. I've had more dust right now than I ever had since like Boulder Cup, which is wild. Like I have about 1 million right now, which is so much more than I've ever had. I don't think I've ever had really more than 250,000 because every time a new Silph Cup would come out, I would just like dump all my dust into making new stuff to try out for it. But now I'm at this really good place where I kind of have most of the stuff I could use for Great League.
Have you seen London Stardust?
Occasional outlier.
I don't know if you want to.
I don't know if I want to know.
You probably don't want to know.
Just give me like, is it higher than 30 million?
It should be, but I spend it all the time.
Okay, well that's good then.
There was something you posted that you maxed out some sort of, I believe it was a shiny double move fancy deal, and I can't remember what it was, but I was in shock, and then I said that you should spend your dust on more things than just that, and you were like, I spend my dust all the time, and whatever your screenshot was, I feel like it was in the multi tens of millions at the time. Is it still in above 10 million?
Oh yeah, of course. I would never go under. I never. For me, I always zero. My zero is 20 million, so I cannot go under 20 million. So right now I have 23 million, and it's bothering me because I haven't been grinding as much lately. So that number is eating away at me because I have powered up so many things like in the last month that I don't even need. But hey, what I mean, you're not gonna die with like Stardust, right? So you might as well use it now, right?
But not that 20 million. People would
no,
kill,
I can't.
People would kill to have like half of that. I mean, 500,000 of that. You'd spread it around.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could give some away, but I worked hard to get that Stardust. Like I spend so many hours in the car grinding. I raid a lot and all that. For me, I always wanted to have this is before Gen 3s and 4 came out. Like I always wanted to have enough Stardust when the new Pokemon came out that I could do whatever I want with those Pokemon. Like if I wanted to max out the new ones when they came out, I had the Stardust for it. And then we never got anything that really I wanted to max out that much of, so or I needed to max out, so that Stardust kind of accumulated. So I do use Stardust all the time. I have like 200 or 300, maybe 200 or 200 to 300 max Pokemon. So I use my Stardust. I just also grind a lot too.
Yeah, and is it fair to say that with as much as you raid and that you love Master League, how many of your Master League mons are not hundos?
Oh, none. Well,
must be.
Yeah, because I even use, because I have Shundos. I'm thankful that I have Shundos too. So I don't think there's any Pokemon that I use actively in Masters that isn't a hundo. I can't think of one.
In Ultra
Oh, that's
League?
not true. Oh. I'm sorry, that's not true. I use a Melmetal because, as I was telling Alyssa, I want to use shiny, so I don't want to use a hundo Meltan. I want to use the shiny Meltan, just because to see the sparkles come out on the screen when you're battling is just so cool. So that's the only one that I have that is not a hundo.
But you could use a hundo, you just choose to use the other.
Yeah, I just. yeah.
Oh, these hard life choices.
But you know what's so funny? if you want to be even more critical of me,
No, no, no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I actually won't even evolve a Pokemon until I get a hundo of it. So people like expect me to have like a full dex, but like there are Pokemon that have been out for like 2 years now that I have never evolved because I don't have a hundo of it. And I know some people, as soon as a new Pokemon comes out, they catch it and they evolve it. I don't do that. I don't want to evolve something that's not a hundo. I know that's just me. You know, we all have our things, right?
What's
That's just how I
what have been the truly elusive ones for you, to just highlight one or two?
Let's see. Let me go to my decks real quick because there is some. Like I don't have a hundo Dino,
Oh yeah,
and so
that's a
I
rough
have
one.
never evolved the final evolution. I don't have a hundo Axu, so I've never evolved it, and I won't until I get a hundo. It's just that's my thing. You know, I can't do it.
I'm not
I could do
sure.
it possibly, but then nothing less.
So if you were playing Master League and for whatever reason you felt like maybe uh, Garchomp was in a position like Dialga was for a while, where it's really hard to level without having one, you would
Mhm.
hold off if you had that 98 to make a Garchomp, even if it meant that you were going to
Yeah,
do worse
I
in
would build a
Mancer.
team up to beat that team.
All
You
right,
know, we all
fair
have
enough.
our things that just make us like anal, and that's what I am. Like that's mine. It's like I'm a hundo collector, and I just been that way since the beginning.
No, oh no,
And I always feel
everybody's
like
got
a
what
hundo.
makes them tick. I was just curious what your threshold was, whether you're willing to sacrifice PvP performance, even if it meant doing breaking your hundo rule. That's
No,
awesome.
yeah, I just have to learn how to play with something else that can beat what is the most popular thing in the meta right now.
So what do you guys think about the new metas that we are going to get in terms of Halloween Cup, and them finally announcing and making official that Flying Cup is going to be Great League level? Do you guys think that those are going to be interesting? Do you I mean, I think I look forward just to the fact that they are willing to explore metas that are beyond just something as simple as no legendaries, which is a pretty basic threshold.
I think we've all been kind of waiting for this. Like we've kind of had this with Sylph, and we were waiting for Niantic to kind of capitalize on the narrowed down metas. Personally, for Flying Cup, I'm super pumped to see Emolga so high because that's like one of my favorite Pokemon ever. I know I'm going to sound ridiculous, but it's just so cute and like little, and it packs like such a good punch that I'm just super ready to use that cute little baby. And then Aerodactyl is like everywhere right now, so there's no reason, we all shouldn't have a really good one. So if you're not on the lookout for a high attack rated Aerodactyl, now's the time to keep your eye out for that, which is wild because so much of us are used to keeping the low attack ones. But for this cup, we're really looking for those high attack Aerodactyls.
I did see that tweet from Kakuna / PV Poke, and I haven't truly delved into the details, but that always really causes anxiety for somebody like me who's just an IV collector, where if I see something that's high attack, I tend to keep it. And then you've got Jimma coming by and just saying, Jiggly, you gotta clear up your storage, you don't need to keep all of these. And then there's this. I feel like, yeah, I really need to find the right one now, and it's not doing anything to eliminate my FOMO, I have to say.
I think it's going to be more important now than it usually is because you know that everybody is going to be on the hunt for that perfect IV Aerodactyl right now, especially because they're everywhere.
Right.
And so many of us have just like tons of them sitting around for this event. But at the end of the day, really any Aerodactyl is going to do the job. And, you can flip those matchups with just like a couple turns of energy. So, don't stress about it. I know you're going to anyway.
Yep, I will.
But
I will confirm.
Yeah. Yeah, but just do your best.
That's a very good point. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I took my headphones out. That's why I asked. You made a very good point, and this is going to contradict every single thing that I just said a moment ago. But outside of Master League, I do not care about IVs. Like I only care about
That
shiny.
hurts me.
Like because in my opinion, you can have the perfect IV but not know how to play it and lose.
True.
So just because your Aerodactyl has is a rank 1 and mine is a rank 700, you may not have the skill level to actually play that, and so you lose matches. So to me, I think it's people's like they in their head they think it's going to make a major difference, but it really doesn't. It's marginal differences, but is how you come out of them, how you manage the matchup, which determines whether you win or not. Not having the best IV for that.
Mm.
Oh man, this makes me think back to the days of YTX always being in stream, telling me IVs don't matter every single night.
They matter, but not like that much.
No, I know. Well, he understands that too, but he would still just say they don't matter. It's just it's a running meme for Jiggly and YTX. So what about you, scientists? What do you feel about the Halloween idea? Did they?
He stepped away.
Oh, did he
for a
step
moment.
away?
You should have just let him talk to nobody for a minute.
Man, see, I've got to have my my video set up the way it is to be streamable, but I can appreciate you guys can see more than I can here. I can't see what he's doing. So
he's back now.
Is he back?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's back. All right, scientists, what do you think of the Halloween the Halloween meta? That I wasn't trying to call you out for not being there. I'm ignorant.
Oh no, I feel bad. I think I had like an internet issue too. I like went for a break and then my thing stopped working, my Google Hangout. So the Halloween meta is I like it. I think they changed though, right? Like Azu's on top now, right? Or something. I think Azu's on top.
I haven't been keeping up with it because I always assume
That's not surprising.
as soon as
It's
Matt
not,
puts a
but
meta out there, it's always going to get adjusted a couple times as he refines for usage.
yeah,
So
I was excited when Shadow Scizor was on top, not gonna lie. I was really pumped about that because I have that's like one of the only shadows that I have for Great League that's really decent. So yeah, I was pretty pumped. And then I guess Azu took its place as the number one, and I kind of felt bummed. But
why don't you just use that as like a template or just like a blueprint on like what Pokemon should be viable? But you can really you can shape the meta
oh
with.
no, yeah. I use PvP Poke more as a reference than as my guide, to be honest. I actually like looking at like if I'm building a team, I'll use the team builder, but I'll look down at the typings to see what I resist and what I like struggle with, and that's mainly how I like adapt my teams and stuff. So yeah, I don't like using the shopping cart like add this Pokemon to your team. I'm not a fan of that. That's
No, what I meant was like, a lot of times people look at the top 10 Pokemon and they just
that's
say,
that
oh,
too. Yeah.
these
Yeah,
10 are going to be the ones that I have to have. But I've seen like Pokemon that really shake the meta that are not in that, even in the top 20. Like,
yeah. No, 100%. There's like things that like other streamers popularize for GBL, like Butters popularizing Haxorus, right? Um it's just you got to adapt and be ahead of it goes back to that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I was kind of alluding to that too. Like, I was just bringing up the fact that I don't really like the team builder's cool, but I don't think people should focus on threat scores or like picking out certain picks or like picking like the top picks. Like, it's all about like if your team is balanced, like what are your weaknesses, making sure that you're covered in all angles. And I feel like the Halloween meta is actually like super interesting because, and I didn't like expect that from Niantic, but I know they have some talent. So yeah, I think it's a pretty balanced meta for what it is. So like as opposed to Flying Cup, which is very one-sided, obviously, because it's just birds. But
yeah.
yeah.
But I like it because it just shows that they are in tune to the community.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I don't sylph, but I know they know that other people do. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're like, these people are very interested in like a themed situation, a themed season. So I personally am not gonna play the Flying Club.
Right.
I'm gonna keep playing the regular,
Yeah,
'cause,
no, it's super. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I think that's RPS, but yeah, I get it.
I'm the only fool that's running Shadow Gardevoir and Masters.
I love Shadow
That's
Gardevoir.
awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was lucky and I got a hundo Shadow Gardevoir, so um, it
Oh my,
it
wow.
rips through Dialga like you've never seen. Like it's just amazing. So I said that to say it's nowhere in the top 50 of the Master League's picks, but it's so good.
I bet.
You just got to know how to
Yeah,
play it.
yeah. That goes with a lot of things. So yeah, I definitely think the Halloween Cup is interesting. So I just liked it a lot more when Scissor was number one. Yeah, but yeah. Obviously, there's shakeups and stuff. So, yup. That doesn't mean it's not viable anymore, though. I liked seeing Shadow Scizor as number one.
Well, you know what? You can make it number one again.
Yeah, I'll make it number one. Just kidding. But I will. But I'll run it probably. I'll end up running it for sure.
I don't even
So
know if I have one. Do I have a shadow? I don't think I've ever even seen a shadow Scyther.
they're definitely. I think that was one of the bosses, if I'm not mistaken. Like
No,
when they were first released.
I don't even have one. Wow.
I think it was
Oh,
a boss.
I purified it.
Uh-oh,
Oops.
FOMO is real. London now doesn't have the thing he needs, and he's the hardcore guy who's not gonna
Uh,
have it.
I
Nope.
don't
I
have
don't.
it either, but I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I feel FOMO for London's Hundo Shadow Gardevoir Jiggly. So just see if you didn't catch that. Yeah, I'm really yeah. It's I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's one of those Pokemon that I think that if more people had a hundo, they would run it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
so hard to get because you have to only get them from Quest. I mean, from the Rocket Shop.
Shadow. Yeah.
And Gardevoir is actually my spirit Pokemon, so that's why I'm attached to it.
Your spirit Pokemon. Do you have an explanation for that, or that's just
No, I can tell you why. So, like, basically, she looks like super soft and like delicate, but she's
oh.
a little sassy too. That's me in a nutshell.
I am a big fan of the Gardevoir, so that's awesome.
I
Yeah.
feel like I need to know, like, does everyone else have like spirit Pokemon?
I was
Like,
just
if you have,
commenting today at my sister's house. I was just like, I think it was meant to be because I never really thought about it when I made my name Jiggly Dad that I was naming myself after like a Pokemon that likes to sing and put people to sleep with my voice. So
I thought you did that on purpose.
what's that?
Okay. I thought you did that purposefully.
No, it had absolutely
Oh
nothing to do
wow.
with it.
Okay. I figured you were really into singing. You have a beautiful voice. You do the Twitch thing a lot. I figured that you chose.
No, I'm
Yeah.
100% transparent about the fact that if people on my stream had not like told me to sing, I would never sing in front of people, and it was just one of those things that happened when I was in a weird mood and people pulled it out of me, but it is something I love love love.
Yeah.
I honestly.
But I'm excited I'll be able to hear you one day.
I've
Yeah.
listened to him singing before, so completely accurate. Like
Yeah.
I've just had it streaming in the background and just totally knocked out.
Yeah. Come out for sure, London. It's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah. Is it a schedule that you have?
For
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
Twitch Sing stuff, we do it on Friday nights, and I try to get as many Pogo people in as I can. But it seems like recently I've had a lot more, as they say, ringers, people from the Twitch Sings community, as opposed to Pogo people. So, I mean, anytime I'm able to get someone who has not participated before to come in, I am hyped for it. So, but more than anything, I just want people to come out and have fun in a way that's not necessarily Pogo, but it's like showing another side of the people that are in our community. That a lot of people who would have thought that Wild Susan Boyle.
Oh my
sing.
gosh.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
Wow.
freaking crazy.
Yeah. I am not the best singer, so I will confirm though it's a lot of fun. I'm definitely not a singer. I like instruments. I used to play piano, but Like I've never been a singer. I don't
Not
sing, I
vocalist.
don't dance, I don't do
That's such
any of
a
that.
good
But
Apple
you go,
instrument to play.
huh?
That's such a good Apple instrument. Like,
Oh,
did you have piano lessons when you were little? Because I have this like visual picture of you at piano lessons, and then like having like some sliced Granny Smith apples and some cheddar bunnies like as a snack after.
I think that's 100% accurate. But yeah, yeah. So I don't have a spirit Pokemon though. I don't think. I think like because I mean Pikachu is like what I use. But, yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like that's just so like even people that don't play Pokemon, that's their favorite. So it's like
What's like the best good Apple Pokemon? Like
I need to really like
well-behaved one.
well, the thing is like I would say that no, Welsh. I would say that Archeops is my spirit, but Archeops because
Why?
I've said it before because of the ability, but because I'm a defeatist, but like I don't know, because I don't know, I don't know. I like I don't know. I don't really have a spirit Pokemon. Maybe I do. I just haven't taken those silly quizzes or
It's
whatever.
okay. You can think about it and get back to us on another time when you don't feel like you're on the spot. I'm sure.
Yeah,
there's
now
one.
I feel I'm on the
I'm
spot.
sure there's one. We know you
What
don't
is
like
yours,
being on the spot.
Wait, what?
Does
Jiggly?
Alyssa have one?
Oh, Alyssa? Oh yeah, Alyssa. What's
Oh,
yours?
I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like if I had to pick, I'd pick something like a Skorupi. 'Cause
Oh, really?
yeah,
A
like
shiny one, no doubt, though, right?
a little evil thing, like
Oh, man.
a really cute little, very bad thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I am a Scorpio, and I 100% identify with just all of that. Like I am awful. I try to be nice
I was
here.
just gonna say Blossom, and maybe if you could be a Shadow Blossom if you're that awful. But like just between the bow and your love for all things pretty. But
You know, Lillipup is also really sweet. But I think my favorite Pokemon, I don't know if I identify with so much, but my favorite Pokemon of all time is Zigzagoon for sure. Yeah, and I have this little crew of raccoons that lives in the sewer right by my house, like on the corner, and they come and they tear up my trash can like every single night, and they'll pull stuff out of there, like they'll pull cupcakes out in little like piping bags, and they'll eat the little icing out of it. And instead of putting like a paver or a brick on top of my trash can, I'll like sit at my window and kind of watch them munch on everything, and I think it's like the cutest thing. Like, and they make such a mess. Like, it is such a wreck every single morning to clean up their mess. But they are so freaking cute that I can't stop them from like eating. It's like a whole little family. Like, the mama one will like hold open the trash can, and the little babies will hop in there, and then she'll close it, and they'll feast, and they'll bring their little treasures out, and they'll eat their stuff, and then they'll go home, and it's like the cutest thing. So yeah, I guess I would pick Zigzagoon.
oh man.
Maybe
You see, Max, if you're still there in chat, we don't need you on stream in order to go on a complete tangent off anything PvP related. We are now talking about raccoons eating things, and
they have hands. They like pick things up and they eat things, and it's just so.
No,
cool.
It's because I joined. I'm sorry, we derailed. Where did you guys go? Where are we right now?
Oh. I was just trying to get a little bit of feedback on the Halloween meta, which I think you guys were discussing, and flying, which I think we did. What about the fact that Bug is getting a little bit of love in the moveset changes? We don't know exactly what they're going to be, but I am hopeful for our friend of the stream, Victor Vandeslag, for the possibility that wonderful Masquerain could be relevant, because it'll be only one of two things that is going to get this lunge attack that they're going to make available: Masquerain and Galvantula. What do you make of the possibility of lunge being a useful attack?
I think that I love how they're making essentially useless Pokemon useful, and giving every Pokemon like its day in the sun. You know, and like I've mentioned before, It amazes me how one Pokemon change will change the whole meta. You give one Pokemon a move, and then other Pokemon try to counter it, and then those Pokemon, it's like a chain reaction. And so I think the whole meta changes. So I think that they're doing the best they can to keep it spicy.
Yeah, I think one of the dynamics that we've been noting is that it seems like Niantic is moving away from these massive moveset changes to things that are more subtle, but that it potentially in the end actually has more impact because
Yeah.
there's more focus on what it is. It's probably easier to think out what the repercussions of the one or two moveset changes are rather than just kind of throwing a bazillion moves at things and hoping that things shake out like you expected to. So obviously we don't know the details yet from the game master, but I mean I fully expect that there'll be at least some relevance to these because why give bugs a buff of any sort if it's not somehow going to mix something up, and I
Oh
actually
yeah,
do
sure.
I do kind of prefer these more focused changes. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they were slightly more frequent, but we're back in the vein of getting them more frequently again than we were before. So I cannot complain about this. I am looking forward to seeing the details, but it's kind of hard to say much beyond that. Vespiquen, cool little Pokemon. Definitely a little surprised that it would be one of two picked out of the crowd, but maybe they are Victor Vandeslug fans over there at Niantic.
Well, it did have a little bit of it was when it first came out, it was supposed to be, I can't remember which cup. Was it the Sorcerer's Cup? I can't remember which cup it was, but it was kind of useful, but you had to really do a lot of searching to find that one
Yeah.
because they're already rare to get the females anyway, and then to get the ones with the perfect
Oh,
eyes. It was the
for the Vespiquens, yeah. Did I say Vespiquen? I meant Masquerain, but maybe I said Vespiquen as well. It's both of them are getting the move. Or I'm sorry,
Both
yeah,
of them are getting buff.
Vespiquen's getting Signal Beam,
Yeah.
and Galvantula and
that's
Vespic. I'm sorry, it's what is
No, it's Galvantula
Masquerain and
yeah.
Galvantula are getting
Yeah, there you go.
Lunge, and Vespiquen is getting Signal Beam. So I think that they'll all get something. The biggest thing with Vespiquen is just going to be now it's going to be even more of a TM sync, which is a problem that only some people really have to worry about. It's like I constantly am reminded by Max that's still an issue. Like he gets mad at my stacks of hundreds of TMs and the like, but for some people that really is still an issue. So Vespiquen is definitely going to have an incredibly large. I guess it's the same move pool. It's just being changed, or it's just
I
getting.
really
No, it's
like
getting it.
Vespiquen.
Yeah.
I used Vespiquen a ton in like the end of Sylph season. I used it for what was it? Catacomb. What else?
I know I used it
I
in
think
the
it
one where
was
Blaziken
it was in jungle, right? Or was it
Forest.
not jungle?
It's been in all of
Forest.
them. It's been in
Forest.
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 It's been
Yeah,
in
that's what it
jungle.
was. The Forest Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah,
think
that's
of
She was like
Forest.
my Forest MVP.
Yeah, I guess I wish there were more Mons like that, where depending on the move set, it could serve different roles and shake things up. I know that if
Mhm.
you just have infinite move sets, it gets to be a little too much, and it reduces the skill level to some extent. But I love the way you can use Vespiquen in so many different ways.
Yeah, and then I think it's the long game, right, that they're playing. I mean, if they just gave every Pokemon a new move, then it will be nothing to look forward to, right? So I think that these little changes make each season a little bit more interesting. And that's, the shinies too. Like they don't give all the shinies out right away because they want to keep people looking forward to new ones. So I think it's just their way of like keeping the interest there.
Right. I'm curious, just because we have you here, as someone who raids as much as you do and has as much dust as you do, presumably something like elite TMs are still a rare commodity for you because everybody's limited to a certain number. How do you handle those situations? How do you handle the scarcity of elite TMs? What kinds of things do you use them on? And do you use and leverage the fact that you've got so many things at your disposal that you could obviously trade with people for other mons that they elite TM. Like, how do you manage that, and do you like the system?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I've never used an Elite TM
Oh
before.
wow.
Yeah, I've never used an Elite TM before, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of hitting rank 10 without using that. That's what I was saying about those leaks that like you can have the perfect IV and like not know how to use it. Same thing with those moves. You can have it and really not know how to use it. And so I haven't used it yet because I really don't like feel like I need those to like make my Pokemon. I don't know. Let me say this the right way. I don't feel like the Pokemon that I'm comfortable using, like I need to use those Elite TMs on those.
So, do you have a fair stockpile of legacy stuff that's useful in PvP, or is that also something that maybe because of your approach to the game being more efficient about inventory management and raiding so much that you might not have even had as many legacy mons to begin with, other than like the community day ones?
Yeah, I used to trash everything that wasn't good until I realized like one day that I'm going to need stuff. So I do have some legacy Pokemon from 2016 and 2017, but for the most part, I trashed a lot of that stuff in the beginning. Like I used to trash executors all the time
Right.
because they weren't good, and now I miss those confusion days. I think it was Zen Headbutt
Well,
days.
Zen Headbutt's the one you still can't get, but it's not very
Yeah,
useful. And Confusion you can go back to getting at least. But yeah.
yeah. So just Pokemon in general, I found myself needing, like not having them, but I've never not been able to get a trade for one of those things.
Right.
Except Blaziken Stone Edge. I don't know anybody with one of those.
Somebody offered me one that was Ultra League level back before GBL was a thing, and I was like, I can trade for it. I'd be happy to, but like it's not as I wasn't willing to like drive all over to creation just to make a trade because I didn't know at the time that it would have any use. But now I kind of wish that I had.
Yeah, I mean, I am jealous of anyone who has that Pokemon because I know on the scale of like rarity that that's one of the rarest Pokemon move sets in the game right now.
So litmus test, just because we have you here and probably not too much left to discuss. We've been here quite a while. How do you feel as someone who lives in California and someone who PvPs about the Galarian Lanoon debacle and Niantic deciding that they were going to take it away after the fact? Where does that fall on your list of whether Niantic handled it right, handled it wrong?
I think they handled it wrong. Um, I think that they it was a loophole in the game. Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you remember last year when for like a small window of time, you could give Mewtwo Shadow Ball?
Yeah.
Yep.
That window of time, they didn't go back in there and they didn't take people's Shadow Ball away.
Right.
The same thing I think with this. I mean, a lot of people were able to get access to Lanoon, but to me, it wasn't game breaking, in my opinion. But you know, it's I guess it's all perspective for the people who didn't get it. I mean, I evolved like 12 of those, so I had enough to do like some black market trades. But did you see there was a tweet yesterday actually of a girl who still has one?
I just posted that in chat. But you
Really?
know what though? They mentioned that now, and now they're going to go find her, and now they're going to take it. So they never should have said a damn word.
But you remember before that was a girl who had an Articuno before everybody else?
Oh, that was the
There
same
was
person?
no, it was a different
Oh, there
person.
was a different person. Sorry.
But I
Making
guess it
sure, yeah.
highlights that Niantic can give it and they can take it away. That's the funny thing to me, that they can actually put Pokemon in your store to take them out. That's an interesting thing for me.
Yeah, that was kind of the approach that I took at the time. I actually think that it was right from the perspective of if there was one time they were going to do this, that it was this time, because I think it had more impact on PvP, even if it wasn't game breaking. It was very kind of unequally distributed resources that weren't gained by any sort of merit, just by like having the information at the right time.
Yeah.
But I also think that it gets very tricky when you start saying that you endorse what they did, because it marks the first time that they really reached into people's accounts and started modifying what they already had, as opposed to just letting it be and trying to fix the system in some other way. I think that it might have been the right decision from a game balance standpoint without it being the right decision from the standpoint of like player-based trust and being able to have expectations that the things you do in the game won't be taken or given to you, that they will just remain there, and that you can kind of rely on that moving forward. And yeah, and I mean, obviously, like I have I have several bullet seed leaps. I mean, they're useless, but like it was the same error, and if they were going to go back and fix the other, it seems like maybe in the same vein that they should kind of be consistent about it, I guess. That like if a move wasn't meant to be there, then do some sort of mechanic that says, I don't know what it would be. It's very difficult to undo, but they being sloppy on the back end and allowing that to happen just seems like a bad reason to reach into people's accounts and alter what they have.
It just makes me wonder why they haven't done that for things that are like grievances, like cheating. Like if you,
right,
you
because,
know,
right,
if
because
we know
put,
that you live in Los Angeles, but you got a shiny Dino in Egypt, then why just not take that out? You know,
right,
because that will discourage people from doing it.
Right, because they had the times where they put the crosses or X's through certain things that you obtained in a certain way, but they weren't willing to actually go so far as to like entirely take it away from you, which is an interesting.
I guess they want you to see this is your mistake. This is what you do.
Live in judgment.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying to open up. I think about the only things we haven't covered are just that we've got Spotlight Hour is Hound Hour this week, 2-time catch candy, and that's going to tie in with the other events that are going on that were announced Monday. You've got like all the mega related events, starting with the one that we are in. We've got the mega raid event going on, and then we've got Mega Houndoom that's supposedly going to be unlocked if we complete 275 million battles. Like that's obviously there's a good tie in there. People can get more Houndoom to get a better one, and I support that. But the whole setting goals to unlock things is a little bit of an interesting mechanic in my mind, especially when they're mostly gated behind the remote raid passes. I think it's a little tone deaf.
I like the challenges. Of course, that's expected from me, right? Because I'm an Niantic employee. But I really like I enjoy the challenges. But to be quite honest, I don't think that even if we didn't hit them, we wouldn't get the rewards anyway. I mean, I just don't see that happening. But I think it's good that we all can collectively like work towards one goal.
Right. That I agree with.
And it also kind of makes people participate in a part of the game that they wouldn't otherwise participate in. And I have had a lot of people say, "Oh wow, I actually enjoy battling," and that makes me happy because it's these people that say they never would PvP.
Right.
They never would do it, and then they are forced to do it, like for whatever reason, and they start to enjoy it. So I'm gonna, my opinion is a little contrary to yours, but I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, I enjoy the idea of it, and I think that there's a reason it's a selling point, because I think it is a desirable thing to do for everybody to work together. I just wish, I don't know, I wish it were something that you could do where they were goals that were more like work together to do something. I don't know, it would be maybe some more of a competition that could be somehow fair, as opposed to like, we've got this shiny trinket thing that we're dangling over here and we're going to act like we're not going to give it to you. It feels kind of like being the spineless parent who says that if you get straight A's, then you'll get this reward. And then if they get a B, you're just kind of like, you can have it anyway. We did get we got version 1.185.3 of the game as well. I guess I don't think I even wrapped up on that last thing, but that
Yeah, I
finally
updated mine.
that finally fixed for me the one thing I know it fixed, and I assume there are many others, is that I finally can actually see Mega Pokemon when I'm battling them, which I always thought was an unbelievably ridiculous oversight, that I was doing all these mega raids and it just looked like I was battling the original ones. I'm like, it's a little bit strange, but that was fixed. What other things are you guys aware of that were fixed? I'm sure we have release notes to fall back on.
The sliding friend list.
Oh, did they? Yeah, they did
Right.
they fixed did they fix the gift sorting? I believe that was
Yeah.
a very frustrating situation.
Yeah, I seem to think that because I try to send as many gifts a day as I can, and I notice that it gets really laggy when I'm sending them.
Yes.
So I think that that's something that they're working on right now too.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has noticed that.
I have noticed that recently. I'm guessing that's a kind of a minor update that they will probably fix, but and I'm looking at these release notes, and a lot of them look like ones that are kind of similar to what they had before. It says 183 release notes, last updated July 30th. So I don't feel like they put a lot of work into these release notes by the way that they are.
It's always bug fixes, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's usually how it is, though. Yeah.
Whatever that means.
I think every game does that, though. So that's not like a new thing. I don't know how many mobile games you guys have played, but the last mobile game I played before this, all the updates were like, I remember my friends and I complaining about it. They're all just bug fixes. No, like, I don't understand what it is with mobile game companies, but they don't have transparency. I can't get my mind around that. Like, I don't know. It's
Maybe they don't
very
want you to see a
interesting.
list of 17 things that they fixed.
I don't know what it is. I guess maybe, but like they could have some transparency, maybe. I don't know. I think that would help the community because that game that I'm talking about ended up dying off, and I was really sad. It is a game called Vainglory, is a MOBA on the App Store. I don't know if you guys are into League or anything, but that was like League on the phone. But I used to play that game a lot, and then it just died. So I'm
I hadn't
hoping, huh?
heard of that. No, I was just saying I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, it's a really low. It's like not at all like on anyone's radar. But that was a
only the
big
cool kids know about it.
no, no. No, it's not like that. But that is a similar situation in the sense that a lot of people wanted it to be a professional sport. I'm not going to say the word e-sport, but a professional sport. And it didn't go that way at all. And I actually went to one of their huge events in LA, and it was good, but that was like the only thing they had ever. And then it fell into the ground and died. It just
You're always so
collapsed. Yeah.
positive, and I've got all these negative stories to tell us
Sorry.
about.
I'm so sad about that. I poured a lot into that game, so that's how I feel. I'm venting now again. I'm gonna stop.
So with regard to the moveset that we are going to get the update on, I think it's probably timed to correspond with the event that we're going to have starting Friday with the Mega Beedrill event. Is there anything other than I guess you could get another Beedrill, but I think most people are going to use their Community Day Beedrills. Anything out
Oh,
of
we
this
can get
bug?
shiny Pidgeot. We can get Pidgeot, Mega Pidgeot too if we do.
Yeah.
Right.
A certain amount of raids again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, did they fix the snapshot bug for Apple? Because that's still, I don't think I mean, I haven't updated yet, so.
Can't speak to the
I
Apple
think
side.
that they did. Let me check. I did my Dialga earlier battles.
Okay, because mine's not in the App Store yet, but.
Oh, it's a new day. Never mind. It's not going to show me.
You could take a screenshot though and see.
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm also on iPhone. I know the bug was like taking a picture for Apple and then like the map for Android, right, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the map is fixed. I saw someone saying
Maps.
that.
Yeah, I saw someone in chat say that too. I think that was an Android exclusive, but it might have been something
Android
different.
exclusive bugs. That's,
Yeah, no, there's actually like an Apple exclusive and an
no,
Android exclusive bug.
usually when
Yeah, no,
people say exclusive, it just sounds like a positive thing. So it just
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is exclusive in a Niantic way. Yeah.
very nice.
So
But yeah,
yeah, okay.
I'm not seeing a lot of spawns for this next week that are actually going to be fun in the absence of these bug type moves really shaking things up with Caterpie, Weedle, Paris, Venonat, Scyther, Pinsir, Ladybug, Spinarak, Wurmple, Cricketot, and Burmy. I feel like that's going to be not a PvP hunter's dream to be
Ladybug
Oh,
hunting.
but
though.
oh
Lady
man, I love Wormpool and I love what's the one that hangs down?
Burmy.
you like you like
Yeah,
Burmy?
I like
yeah, like
I like Wormadam Trash. I'm not gonna say that I do love the Wormadam Trash for PvP, but
they're rare. The shinies are rare.
yeah, oh
And
yeah, I don't have any shinies of any of
that's like
the
that's a
Burmies.
weird combo to get for PvP too. It's not like normal where it's like 1 0 15 14 or 0 15. Oh,
Right,
did it
it's
work?
kind of a middle thing.
Yeah,
Yes! Yes!
it does work.
Yes! Okay, awesome. So excited. Sorry. I'm like really close with the best buddy, that's why.
Nice.
Yeah.
But they does say they will have different shadow Pokemon, which are not listed. Will
Ooh.
be nice to see. That I always appreciate when they update the shadow content. Not because I'm super in love with the dynamics of shadow Pokemon in the game, but just because it gets very dull to face the same ones over and over again. And once you've gotten a fair number of them, you can pretty much say you're facing diminishing returns with the likelihood you're going to actually get a better PvP or raid version of a Shadowmon. You're just kind of like, yeah, give me some new ones. Shiny Ladybug should be nice.
Yeah, that will be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I just hate the bug Pokemon can be so hard to catch sometimes. Like
right, the
the one
dancing
that I
one.
hate the most in this most recent event, Venipede. Oh gosh, if I never see another one of those, it'll be too soon.
Oh, just something to. I think there's always seems like there's something in any given event that's not necessarily serving much of a purpose except to make you use some of your ultra balls, and
Yeah.
yeah, so there's always going to be that. And finally, when we do get that Halloween cup, it's going to be the what is the last event here? The last event is going to be the buddy related event, or it's not buddy though. It's like it's the buddy system, but the friendship system. I guess you're going to have the chance to level up friendship better, which I don't know. Maybe that'll affect some people. You're pretty bad at doing the friendship for PvP, right, Ethan?
Uh, Terrible at buddying? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe when the event comes along, you'll actually put some effort into it to try and kickstart it, or do you think it's still going to be not enough reason for you
I
to do it?
It's just like it's so much. Like I don't like I was really good at it when it first came out. Like I would consistently get max hearts, but like quarantine, right? So I'm staying inside. I'm not walking. So I'm like it's just so much of a hassle. I don't want to like go in my little buddy and like feed him and yeah, unless I'm going outside. Then I'm actually like then I feel good about my buddy rather than like keeping my buddy inside with me, feeling all depressed during quarantine, wondering why we can't go walk out and find other Pokemon friends. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, it's basically what it is. Like I've like when I go out, I want to have my Dragonite fly alongside me and help me catch my Pokemon. I don't want to like keep him restrained within the house. You know,
Aww.
I'm literally like being serious. Like
It's really cute.
that's a mindset.
Or as
Yeah,
the kids
it's
these days say, it's a mood.
no, it's a mindset. It's a mindset, not a mood. But I think that I'm not entirely like I think Oyster brings up a good point. I think the buddy system could maybe use a rework too. I feel like some of the tasks are like it could be like it's definitely like rewarding for the amount of effort you put in, but I feel like maybe more people would get into it if they're like like different tasks. I don't know, other than like they change the tasks every month or something. That would be cool, right? I don't know. Like that would be interesting because then it's not the same thing. Like you're taking pictures, you're feeding the buddy, or I feel like those should stay common. Like those should be common, but like the find a new stop is almost impossible unless you submit.
Right.
So like submitting that's good. It's encouraging that, but we don't have to have that every single time. I feel like they could do like different things too, and maybe make it like AR based as well as they're moving towards that. I think that would be more interactive, but
I
it
think
might
it would
be.
be great if you could find a new stop that particular Pokemon has never been to.
Right.
It would
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
it
like
would allow
that.
you to use the resources that you have available to you, but maximizing on those because I mean, in the whole city of LA, it's hard to even find stops that have halos on them because I've been to almost all the stops. So
Right.
Exactly. And it's like hard to submit stops in a dense area like that. So it's like, yeah, I totally feel that. I think that's a great idea, London. Actually, that's like way better.
I wanted to tell
Yeah.
you guys I secretly work for Niantic. You didn't know that, right?
Well,
Wait,
the
what?
joke is that because I don't talk about what I do, people say I work for the CIA, which is not true, but that is the line that they like to use on me.
Well, I'm
No.
actually not a college student.
You're not a college student.
We're all just sharing things. No kidding.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
actually
true.
a raccoon.
You what?
Oh, wow.
Nothing.
You're actually
heard
a
it.
raccoon. Are
Yeah.
you?
Okay.
I think that most of the other stuff we have either talked about or we can talk about more in the future. I think we can talk about Go Battle Night and some of that other stuff when it's coming up because we announced that it was happening, but we will focus more on that in a future episode. But anything else you guys want to say about the buddy system? Anything else that we haven't covered in these 4+ hours, 4.5 hours? Is that where we're sitting right
My.
now?
Is this a record?
I don't
Quick
know.
though.
I always
It went
feel like we're
quick.
reaching for records, but it doesn't bother me. I just always feel bad for the people that are on stream with me, spending 4.5 hours with poor old me.
I think we're happy to be here. Otherwise, we and be like, "Oh, I gotta go."
Oh man, J Farm says I'm part of the Illuminati. He's got a whole extra conspiracy theory going. Thank you, J Farm, for that validation. All right.
Yeah, I had a good time in here. I appreciate the invitation to stop by. You guys have been quite fun and welcoming, and I appreciate being able to answer the questions about the diversity and inclusion piece. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to having more conversations with, just the general community about that. So thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, it was great, and what I think will make a really fitting end to the night is that I think we can raid your guy Super Saiyan Sensei, and
Yeah.
and
Yes,
we'll
he's trying to hit rank 10.
Yeah,
And
he's getting close.
we
So
will all be there together and support him. And thanks everybody for stopping by. We'll be back on. I'll probably be back on Wednesday in some form. Shoutcast School likely to be on hiatus until we reformat that and maybe have more metas to play. We'll still plan on streaming on Wednesday in some form. We'll still plan on having an interview Thursday if I'm able to figure out who to interview. Maybe something will spur from this discussion we had today, and somebody's going to want a perspective out there that I have not approached. Open to that. If you have perspectives in this community that you want me to hear, please be proactive and come to me with them, because there are far too many situations where folks are out there on Twitter saying, who can I talk to about this? Who can I talk to about that? If you've got something you want to talk to with me, I promise you that I will not tell you no unless I've got a very good reason, and I am open-minded. So please come to me with the topics, the subjects, or whether they are directly PvP related or not, the things going on in our community, because if you don't talk about them here, I don't know where on earth in the streaming world you're going to talk about them, because nobody else wants to touch this crap. So, and hopefully we've drafted London into the world of Pokemon Go team participation for the next seasons when they come up. I look forward to seeing him take part in that, because it is the most fun.
Thank you.
And looking forward to participating with Team Bellsprouts in the Battle of the Servers. Looking forward
Yeah.
to new people coming out for sings, whether that includes London or not. And
Yeah,
anything.
and I might sing a note or two for you.
Hey, come on, bring it on.
Oh.
And anything else that we can promote for you, since you have not started streaming yet? Is there anything that you wanted to mention that may not be related to anything we've talked about, but you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, on my PoGo Twitter. I'm very engaging and I like to have conversations. So it's HM London PoGo, which you have listed there on the title. So
All right.
if you guys are in the Twitterverse, please follow me.
Excellent. All right, guys. Only 4.5 hours. Oh no! You know what? It's not a record because I know that we rated Taco at 420 exactly once, but we're at 422 on the clip ticker. So
We can wait 2 minutes.
Well, no, I mean we're definitely at near record level, but I think we've been in this territory before. Everybody says spam some emotes at Super Saiyan Sensei and encourage him to hit that rank 10. He definitely is deserving.